Hey, it's trading season, and it's also vacation season. So and also free agent season, I guess, right?
Trade in where you are for where you're going to be.
100%.
With Saley.
You maybe you're moving to a new place, and you're like, hey, I haven't
JetBlue holiday.
Yeah. Well, no. A Saley holiday, Jesse. You see, because here's the deal. We want to give you a sweet discount. I'll talk to you about that in a second. But first, I just want you to know that whether you're moving or you're getting traded or you're signing somewhere, maybe you're just going on vacation like a normal person. I don't know. Mm-hmm. The reality is, when you get to the new place, you probably don't have a cell phone plan in that place. Probably don't have an internet plan in that place. Saley can help you with that. And the great thing about it, it's backed by Nord Security. And you don't have to worry about those pesky roaming charges, because why should you have to pay to roam when really it doesn't cost the company anything at all?
Right.
You know?
So all those players who aren't signing with NHL teams and are going to go play overseas in Europe and start their careers there or restart their careers there
in Rome,
they should sign up for Saley.
Absolutely.
You know?
And listen,
we should tell them.
Well,
we should sign a deal with the NHL to get players on Saley.
Well, we should. Maybe Saley would want to do that. I don't know if we could represent their interests.
No, we're going to be
all right.
You're thinking small.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to think big.
All right. It's an eSIM available in over 150 countries and 8 regions around the world. Check out Saley, SAILY.com/Dangle for a sweet discount. It's backed by Nord Security too, so you'll love that as well. Let's start the show.
SDPN, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Hi. So, I just want to start the show with a clip from yesterday's show, because I think it's relevant to today's show.
What could it be about?
Oh, there he is.
Hey,
there he is.
My favorite guy.
Kevin Adams. Jesse, take it away. This is from yesterday's show. Kevin Adams press conference 24 hours ago.
That's gotta be Mike Harrington.
I don't want to say yes or no, because I just don't think it's the right time.
It was Mike Harrington.
It was Mike Harrington.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
this is about JJ Peterka and his potential trade, by the way.
Yes.
1 for 1.
No, and I can probably, after the draft, get, and when we have other conversations, get into more specifics on things. But I just don't think it's fair to the player, to be honest with you, to really even respond to that. I think it's just better to keep it to the fact that we have a plan. We're working towards helping our team get better. We're willing to do whatever it takes to get better. And I don't know, like I get memos on my desk every morning from PR of things. And I feel, if I'm being honest, like I feel bad for our fans. The stuff that's out there, there's so much misinformation. So much of it's nonsense. I mean, someone that has no idea what they're talking about reporting that we were going to buy Sammy out. We've never had that conversation once. Like, it's ridiculous. So
keep going, man.
I don't even think it's worth me really getting into it. But
no?
I guess I'd just leave it at that.
If there's a way for Kevin Adams to do his job without talking, they got to do that.
Now,
I thought that was you pausing the show now. And that confused me a lot.
No.
JJ Peterka is a Utah Mammoth. Michael Kesselring and Josh Stone coming back the other way. Kesselring, 25-year-old defenseman, 6'5", 220 pounds. Nasty business. Now, I want to say, from the start, I love dunking on the Sabres. Mm-hmm. When specifically Sabres management. It's not even the Sabres. It's the Sabres management. I love it because they're dunkable. They are dunkaroos. Like, they are perfect. But I really like this trade for Buffalo. I understand people are underwhelmed by it. And I feel like maybe, and I hate to look at me sticking up for Kevin Adams and Jarmo Kekalainen as well. Let me just say, I think you got to wait for the Bo Byram return before you really fully grasp the whole picture, because I think Kesselring kind of fits them perfectly. They're soft as baby shit.
It's growing on me. I think there's a scenario where the Sabres come out of this better. I kind of like them not getting draft picks.
Oh, yeah. The draft picks thing we'll get to. Man, you don't want draft picks.
I'm still not sure it's very good value for this player, JJ Peterka. Now, the one thing I will say, I do feel bad for Sabres fans, because there is a sect of them. It's the worst case of Stockholm Syndrome I've ever seen in my entire life.
What do you mean?
Well, he doesn't play defense. He doesn't back check, and the Sabres being snooty to him on his way out by not thanking him, which I'm sure.
JJ Peterka, you're talking.
Yeah, JJ Peterka, which I'm sure we'll get to. They're like, well, he publicly wanted out, so good riddance. And I'm like, so you're just not picking up on this happening all the time, are you? Like, you're not picking up on this happens so consistently with the Sabres. Guys will retire. Older players will lose their love for the game. Young players will ask their way out. And it's always their fault.
What do you think should have been their appropriate reaction then?
Oh, Sabres fans, I don't expect to be glowing about JJ Peterka this morning, but the organization should grow up and show a little class and thank him on the way out. Even though, listen, part of being a grown-up is being nice to people that you don't feel like being nice to. Mm-hmm. It is. Like, if you're listening to this right now as an adult, we all have our customer service voice, even when we're not working in customer service. You know what I mean? So I think that's really unprofessional and petty of the Sabres organization. Sabres fans, your job is to be a fan. Fill your boots. Do whatever you want.
What does the Sabres organization owe Peterka?
They all they you know what? It's not about what they owe Peterka. It's what they owe their own brand. Reality is that it doesn't matter how nasty some sort of breakup like this happens in a business context. If you want to go out and trash them on the way out, other people are going to notice that. Or you want to omit that, and they didn't trash them on the way out. But if you want to omit that on the way out, for an organization, Jesse, and I think it's a relevant question that you're asking, for an organization that's already known for, I wouldn't say, they're not fractious. They're not the Vancouver Canucks. They're not the Winnipeg Jets of 5 years ago. I would just say nobody's happy. And so
you can't have this many players not want to be there.
And so if you're trying to attract new players, the way you treat other players does matter. It's a reflection of you. It's not a reflection about how you feel about JJ. And it's so easy. Just put the sentence in, hey, we thank JJ for all his contributions.
Yeah.
That's it. Boom, done. And it's over.
And it's like,
it's a non-story, but you've now made that a story.
Yes.
And
100%.
And I'll be honest with you guys. When I think about how the Sabres season went last year, the thing that gets me is Terry Pegula walked into that dressing room in January or February and said, you know what, guys, the answer's in here. I know we suck ass, but we're not going to help you.
And JJ's sitting there like, what a loser.
Do you think that the Rasmus Dahlin conversation with the general manager, which did happen, and he did say, I just can't do this anymore. Something to that effect. Bissonnette was not lying. That story did happen. Whether he asked for a trade or not is a completely different thing. I don't think that ever happened.
It's at least partially true.
But the conversation happened. And why did the conversation happen? Because the captain went to the GM and said, "This is fucking depressing, dude."
Yes, and that's why I like them getting 2 NHL players
and not draft picks.
I
completely agree with that. I completely agree with that.
What for? Like, you think about it and like, would you rather have Marco Rossi and some picks, which we'll get to?
Yeah, there's no social media post even saying, wishing you all the best or whatever. Like, every team does that.
Yeah.
And for context, for the people who don't know what happened, this is the official release on the Sabres website where they announced the trade. And under it, they don't have any words from Kevin Adams to JJ Peterka saying like, thank you or anything like that.
Or like even a tweet and
yeah,
like, I don't know.
It's just focusing on Kesselring and Doan and what they want to do coming up for the offseason. So,
and again, like Peterka forced his way out. I totally understand it. If you're a fan, yeah, absolutely, boo the shit out of him next time he comes to Buffalo. But I don't know, the organization. It looks small.
It does.
It would have bbeen very easy to just put his name in there and thank him, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, listen, if you are small, you don't have to act it.
There you go. And here's, you keep trying to galvanize and we don't have palm trees and all right, Kevin, like who gives a damn? All right. You're still shit. You do have palm trees. You don't have palm trees.
It's crazy. You know what's crazy is I watched the Buffalo Sabres go all the way to Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals without palm trees.
Yes. They've never had them.
That's so crazy.
When he was a Sabre, they didn't have them. Like, anyway.
A counter argument just to back some of those Sabres fans. Maybe they look at the organization saying, screw you to Peterka. And they're like, yeah, that's our team. They support us. You know, I think it's Kevin Adams trying to do the Kevin Adams things that's getting where he should put his foot in his mouth. You know, all these times where he's like, I feel bad for the fans. We don't have palm trees. It's hard here. And this is again them trying to get on the side of those people who are like, screw you, Peterka, you don't want to be a Sabre. And then the team's like, we're going to side with those fans and also not thank them on.
Well, let's talk about
those guys behind.
And Jesse, another great point.
Just literally a theory.
A great point of order. And let's talk about the Stockholm syndrome that some Sabres fans have with this organization.
Well, I want to talk about how like this trade is actually redeemable.
No, let's talk about that in a second.
Eventually we got to get to the
Well, if
players,
Jesse brought up the fan
But
thing.
I think, yeah.
Okay,
Somebody got,
okay.
I think we got a few tweets from Sabres fans. Some of them were, by the way, most normal Sabres fans are in total agreement.
Most fans of every team.
But
internet's
what we
not
said, like,
real
I don't
life.
think we said anything that was unfair.
No.
But when I look at some of the people, like, yeah, you guys took Kevin Adams out of context. I'm like, what? Buddy, we played his whole answer.
Well, I got one in particular that. So I woke up in the middle of the night.
It's his burner account. Like it's like find a new slant.
I woke up in the
Brian
middle of the
Colangelo.
night to this trade happening, but this person had sent this tweet before the trade happened, and I was just like, "How you doing, man?" Like,
You all right? Yeah.
we nailed it. He's like, he was asked, yes or no, you trading JJ Peterka? And he goes, oh man, like I hate all this stuff that's not true. Like, for example, this other thing you didn't ask about. Again, never denying he was trading JJ Peterka, and then within 48 hours he ends up.
But just the original point of like, it might be beneficial for the Sabres organization to side with their hardcore fans who don't like this player anymore.
Sure. I was still on the side of, I mean, any Sabres fan who regularly listens to the show, my strategy here was keep Peterka as much as he pisses and moans and whatever.
You said sit him till training camp,
Sit
sit
him.
him all season. Yeah.
Sit him if you have to.
Yeah.
Sit because you can't keep hemorrhaging talent. Now that's me being stubborn. Kevin Adams is doing the adult thing here after, the not adult thing to me, but you made a very good point.
Mm-hmm.
The adult thing is, no, we got to try to win games.
Mm-hmm.
How do we do that? Okay. JJ Peterka is a really good young player. Let's get another really good young forward in Josh Doan, who's obviously not as good, has not done as much in the league as Peterka.
Hey, but you know what he is?
What?
Tough as shit.
Tough as shit in an NHL player.
Yeah.
Right?
Throws a lot of hits.
Okay, great. But that's not enough. Well, great. You know what doesn't grow on trees? And I don't know how this player has been traded twice. 6'5", right shooting 25-year-old defenseman who scored goals.
Well, he scored 7. Still,
That's a lot of goals for a defenseman.
And what does he make? 1.5 million or something like that? Or was it 4 million?
1.4.
1.4 million.
I
I was like, wait a
whoa.
second. How the hell did I get that wrong? 1.4 million for the
Yes.
Sabres, who are like, we don't like to spend money.
That's Michael Kesselring you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yes. Michael Kesselring, who was an Oilers draft pick, and they traded him as part of a package for Nick Bjugstad. Not great work there.
The only thing I see people talking about that I don't agree with Kesselring is that there's a lot of conversation around him like he's a prospect.
No. He's 25.
Like he's 21 or 22. He's a 25-year-old player. He's getting to the point of his career where he is what he is.
Yeah. There's room to grow. But
I think 25 is pretty much we know what you are as an NHLer.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of wishful thinking that he grows into this amazing right shot defenseman when he's not 21.
No.
So I think people need to temper their expectations on Kesselring a little bit.
But he's going to play with one of Dahlin or Power. Like, this is an enormous opportunity for him to make bank on his next deal. And the Sabres badly need someone on that right side. There were too many times I tuned in, and it's like one of, I feel like it usually wasn't Dahlin, it was usually Power, and sometimes Byram on the right side. Boo.
The Tage Thompson clip, I think, from last week, was it Cam? I don't even remember what podcast was Cam.
It was Camister.
Where he got, his bell rung by a Devils player who, again,
Stefan Nason. Nobody steps up and does anything. I know Josh Doan is not likely to play on Tage Thompson's line, and maybe he has a great camp. But the one thing the Sabres do need to get is tougher. If you are going to lose, you should kick the other team's ass. I've been asking the Leafs to do that too. Sure. I mean, a lot of teams.
But the Sabres are particularly soft. And I like...
Over the course of over a decade.
Yes.
Yes.
And they used to be a really mean team. They were bastards.
Dude, Patrick Coletta and
Matthew Barnaby.
and Rob Ray, Michael Peterka.
Yeah. Like they were tough
All these
and
guys on
mean
D.
and ugly. And that's Buffalo Sabre hockey with a little bit of flash. I'm thinking like Gilbert Perreault.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that this is from the Kevin Adams perspective. Like there's a report out there that there was 2 firsts and 2 prospects. I think that came from Frank. That Buffalo had an offer of 2 firsts and 2 prospects. First off, we don't know where the firsts were, what year they were in, and we don't know what kind of prospects. And so from the outside, you go, well, why didn't they take the draft picks? You need players now.
Yeah.
They're in an emergency situation now.
I'm here to tell you-
They need to change the culture and the way they play now.
I'm not an insider, but like even I am hearing stuff like teams are just pitching their firsts out the door.
Yeah, this is not this draft is going to be a very flexible
We'll
draft.
get to this later, but Mark Leach, who's the director of amateur scouting for the Toronto Maple Leafs, he did a press conference today, a mini scrum with all of us, and he was talking a little bit before and during it, and he said that the guys in this draft, don't anticipate them coming up anytime soon. He was like, these guys we're drafting today are going to take 3 to 5 years to get to the league.
Wow.
So it's
Interesting.
It's not a rush. This is a slow moving process. You got to give these kids time. And the Buffalo Sabres don't have 3 years at the minimum for these guys.
Kevin Adams doesn't.
Kevin Adams doesn't. Like this organization can't be waiting on guys who are going to take, even if it's 2 seasons to get to the league, they need to win immediately because this thing's been a tire fire for a decade.
Me saying let Peterka sit in it and sit him and listen, the point I was trying to make is you can't keep hemorrhaging talent and you have all these other guys whose contracts are going to come up in the next year or 2 or 3. But no, dude, like have some pride for God's sake. Like try to compete for the playoffs or something. You have all these young defensemen who have crazy upside. You have 2 goaltenders who have crazy upside. You have a few guys who can score. You finish top 10 in the league in goals. You have guys who can maybe come up and replace some of Peterka's offense. It's not all a catastrophe, but you lose. Every year you lose. So you got to get out there and do friggin' something.
If it was offered by a team 3 firsts, like if they're far enough in the future, it doesn't make sense. Just get the guys who are NHL.
Adams would just be literally giving 3 firsts to the next general manager.
100%.
Yes,
The dude's
and
fighting
100%.
for his job.
Yeah, and he should be. He should be at this point. It's been a long enough. Now look,
And they can still trade off of a surplus. They have Power, Darlene, Byram.
well, and Byram
You
is
don't
going to
need
be
all 3 of them.
So listen, I think a lot of people want it, and you know, Michael Russo talked about Russo and Rossi, and how the Wild offered Marco Rossi as a starting point of a package. They were willing to include another roster player and or picks or prospects. Sabres weren't interested in adding another undersized forward, and you can understand why.
Someone is going to get Rossi for an absolutely shocking price.
We
His
have-
stock is garbage.
Might even be the Wild. The Rossi gets into that a little bit later, but we'll talk about it. But I think the point I
Rossi
want to
or
go
Russo?
to here is that Rossi is not what the Sabres need. That's why that deal doesn't happen. I know it's sexy to 60 points. He was playing further up in the lineup than he should have been
not what they
because
need.
there was so many injuries on the Wild this year. Okay. This is not, if the Wild were fully healthy and still chasing the Jets for the President's Trophy the entire season, Rossi's not getting 60 points. He's not.
It's also like if he was that player that everybody talks about him as, the Wild would keep him.
And they
That's the reason they don't want him.
and they would have played him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It is the market inefficiency about a decade ago was teams were not hip to drafting small guys with skill. And then everybody did it. And like it's ebbs and flows, it's the pendulum swinging, and it is swinging back aggressively to huge dudes.
And that might benefit Marco Rossi on his next contract because he might be the unicorn. And I'm not saying he's not valuable either to the Wild or elsewhere. I think what he's asking, he's asking the Brock Faber number, which is crazy. That was what I
Was
heard.
that 7?
7 times 7 in there or something?
good
Whatever it is. Yeah.
I
don't
don't
think so.
blame you for asking.
Yeah, no, you got to ask. But even if he comes in at 5, okay, fair. But I look at this and I go, okay, you filled out one of your needs. Your needs was a right shot defenseman. You got a guy who is a bit of a lottery ticket in Josh Doan. High end. You think there could be high end talent there if he rounds out as a player. He did only have 19 points last year. Throws a ton of hits. They're meaner. Good. Bo Byram. See, the thing about wingers is that there's lots of them. We talked about this yesterday.
Yeah.
There are so many wingers. And if you look at CJ's trade board, if you want wingers on the Sabres, Bo Byram will get you some wingers. He might even get you center.
Yes.
Like this is a extremely valuable trade chip. I would say potentially much more than JJ Peterka, because Bo Byram, I mean, they're both not under contract.
Yeah.
But that's the harder quantity to get.
Listen, I know Kevin Adams says almost exclusively dumb things into a camera. And the Sabres are easy to dunk on. They're in sort of a decent position.
I you know what? If it was the Leafs in that position, I would relish the position.
And what is fascinating about
Except
it is
for
they
the
have
position that they keep finishing in the standings. Sorry.
right. But they have all this cap space too, and we know they're not going to be able to spend it in free agency because they never are. Which means they're going to be making trades, which is exciting.
Well, so it's interesting with the Sabres. It's not that they're not willing to spend in free agency. It's that free agents won't sign there, and people
can't give it out.
And it's because the reason free agents won't sign there, it's not because it's Buffalo. It's not because it's winter. The ownership group there refuses to do any sort of bonus structure. So you go look at Rasmus Dahlin's contract. There is almost no bonus structure in that. So a lot of the guys, like when they sign these deals, like when Tavares came to Toronto, most of that got paid in the first 2 or 3 years. I think Marner's deal structure was like that. I think Matthews was. And the Pagulas and Buffalo can support that type of spending. But as a organizational ethos, and that comes from the owner, and this is from multiple people I've talked to, they will just tell you no. We won't do that.
Man.
And so as a player, okay, I can sign, let's say I'm a $10 million player. And I got Buffalo and Columbus, who both have a ton of space to spend this offseason, and there are teams on the rise, hopefully, in their own minds. And Columbus goes, okay, we'll pay you $70 million. And the Sabres go, we'll pay you $70 million. And then okay, which one of you will give me a no move clause? Oh, you'll both give that to me. That's awesome. Okay, which one of you will give me 60 or 70% of it in the first 3 years? And Columbus goes yes, and Buffalo goes no.
Columbus can afford to do that?
Sure they can.
No.
You go to Columbus. And the reason you do that is because when you can make that kind of money all up front, you give it to a money manager, and at the end of the 7-year contract, that money is now worth more than it would have been had you waited for it.
I know how.
Steve, if you were the money manager, what's the first thing you do?
Don't allow you to spend it.
No.
You know, I think Steve would invest in AI.
Oh, hell no. No, I would just buy hockey cards. All right. You got to understand, this is a Series 1 Upper Deck 0506. There could be 1, maybe even 2 Sidney Crosby Young Guns in here.
Ooh.
And we could flip it. I'm taking you to the moon, kid. I just need a few more dollars to make this a hit.
I think they're going to agree with you.
Yeah. No, I mean, mostly what they do is spend it on stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. My point is that Buffalo, forget the palm trees, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Palm trees.
It's not the palm trees. It's the stupid shit like that where you go, oh.
Yeah.
It's the, oh.
There are lots of bad teams.
It's pedantic.
Yep.
It's just stupid. Okay,
Good
your
word.
owner, you are paying, how much are you paying Josh Allen a year? $50 million?
Yeah.
$50 million bucks. You're paying
Something
Josh
like
Allen
that,
$50 million bucks, and you won't give me a $5 million signing bonus each year for the next 3 years? Come on now.
Yeah, but you also pale in comparison. You're the shitty whatever the fuck Sabres.
Well,
team
you're never
that-
going to get out of that if you don't start doing little things.
I do agree with that.
Little thing.
It's almost like he's making the Sabres earn it. And it's like, that's not how it works. You're the owner.
Well, what bothers me is we talk about the Sabres as like a quote unquote small market. I understand that Buffalo is not like, but TV revenue wise, TV watching wise, they're one of the strongest in the NHL.
Yep.
And they're on a 14-year no playoff streak. Guys, this should be one of the biggest success stories in the NHL this season.
Yeah, they should be a cap team. Like that.
They should be a Green Bay
my
Packers.
biggest complaint about the offseason Kevin Adams had last year was that he didn't just spend to the cap.
But he's not allowed.
They had they had holes in their lineup that could be filled with some free agents. But for some reason, even though he has the money, there's an internal cap. We've heard it speculated enough that we know it's true that there's an internal cap on the Sabres when there shouldn't be. And Adam, that number that Josh Allen's being paid. If he hits all of his bonuses, it's $55 million
is that
a
all?
season.
Wow.
That's great.
At some point in the distant past, that was half of the NHL salary cap.
Yes.
$55 million.
Not that far.
It's not
that long ago.
Not anymore. Yeah, more than half, but it's moved now. But like that's ridiculous.
It's crazy.
The first salary cap, I believe, was 42.5.
Listen, Terry Pegula doesn't like hockey. Okay, I get it. He likes football. I get it. The point is, the Buffalo Sabres should be Gary Bettman's reason why a hard cap is essential to a successful hockey league. Gary Bettman should have gone to the Hall of Fame based on the wild, crazy success of the Buffalo Sabres and they're making so much money and the cap's low and cost certainty, whatever. You know, without the Coyotes in the league, there are a few organizations that are very quickly, power abhors a vacuum. Worst run organization is up for grabs. And there's about 3 teams circling that drain, and the Sabres are one of them. And it's unfortunate because the fans are there. The talent, I think, for the most part, is there. I think they've got something. I also think hiring Lindy Ruff, I'm going to just say it, I don't understand why we're going retro here. You should have gone out and got a coach with some experience. We knew that. We didn't want you to go get like a Ralph Kruger who was coaching soccer last year, right? Remember that?
Yes.
They hired that guy. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just the Sabres. Go out, get somebody who is a great coach, overpay for them perhaps. Don't run it back to 1999. Lindy's days are kind of toast, right? We saw how it worked in Dallas. We saw how it worked in New Jersey. We're done. And get somebody who can connect with these guys. How long has Jay Woodcroft sat on just today he got hired.
Yep.
Jay Woodcroft was available.
There's got to be something there we don't know. I will say with Bettman, the one thing I'm just starting to subscribe to more and more, this goes against the Sabres. They don't play in the Bettman U.
Yeah.
Do you know what Bettman U is?
Go ahead.
It's take a map of North America, draw a little U, like kind of a wide U, not an acute one, a very obtuse U.
Mm-hmm.
Are you on the northern part of the U? I don't give a fuck. Boo! I hate you. Die immediately.
Don't blame this on
everyone.
You don't blame
below
this
it,
on Bettman. Don't let
I
people
absolutely
off the hook.
will.
No.
No. It's
All right.
both of them.
All right.
There's room below the U. Little baby, little precious angel, you darling. Gary loves them. Gary loves them to bits. Like up here in Canada, we think it's just Bettman hates Canada. No. If you are like a regularly healthy hockey market, like a traditionally healthy hockey market, go fuck yourself to the end of time.
Well, he doesn't have to worry about you.
Here's a shovel, dig your own grave, and bury yourself alive.
But I don't understand how that affects the Sabres. I'm still not...
Yeah.
What's the Sabres connection there?
Well, because he just doesn't give a fuck about how they're run or nothing.
Well, what's he going to do? Call Terry and be like, hey, boss?
He's done it plenty of times.
I don't think he has. Like, I think I don't think he didn't even do it with the Coyotes until the president of the NHLPA at All-Star said, hey, guys, this isn't working. I know they own them because the other guy was going bankrupt.
Yeah.
The franchise was going to fold. That's why they bought them. Different scenario. I don't think Gary is going to one of his 32 bosses, which Terry Pegula is, and going, Terry, you run your team like shit. Anyway, can I get another extension? Like, that's not how that works, right? He's going to let you do what you do because that's your boss.
I wish Gary Bettman would go on his retirement tour of truth where he just goes, Terry, holy hot dog bullshit. You're awful.
Yeah.
You are so bad.
And it didn't start out that way. There was an article, I think, done in The Athletic about how the Sabres, when Pegula took over, invested and had all these great people, and then just said, you know what, let's fire everybody.
Kevin Adams was a part of that revolution that the Sabres were starting because they built one of the biggest prospect facilities in all of North America, and Kevin Adams was in charge of all of that. And they started off great when he bought it.
He was a part of he was running the kids part of that.
Yes. Yeah, he was just a part of that, that journey. I'm just talking
the minor hockey.
In general. Like, they started off really good, and early on, they lost the plot.
Mm-hmm.
And everything went to shit. And the original plot of this conversation is like, I think Kevin Adams did decent, considering this trade. They need that right shot defenseman. That's clearly the biggest hole. There's still so much work to be done with this team. Second line center is the wasteland for them right now.
Bo Byram has got to be the guy. That's what
I hope Bo Byram
must
can play second line center.
It's supposed to be Josh Norris.
Oh.
And he makes $1 billion.
I know, but the shoulders for him, like the surgery.
Well, you traded for him.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it should be Josh
just got him.
Yeah.
Like, he's the reason why you probably don't go out and get Marco Rossi. You're like, well, we just traded the workhorse from Whitehorse. There's another guy who didn't stick around. Young guy. Why are you trading?
I mean, you can probably, like, this is the thing. If they offered bonuses on July 1st, I would expect the Sabres to be one of the bigger, because they could spend as much as they want to spend.
They have $40 quintillion billion to spend.
So you can go and
21 million, but it's a lot.
You can go and trade Bo Byram and probably end up with more cap space on the other side too, than you would have been signing him. Go get a winger, because the wingers don't make it.
Depends who you go out and get.
But you go get that winger that is going to play on, I don't know, is it Tage's wing? Is it Josh Norris's wing? Whatever. Or you get center insurance. So if Josh Norris, which he does do from time to time, goes down with an injury, you got somebody.
Some teams have absurd amounts of cap space, and they're not all going to be able to spend it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. The difference between how you and I looked at the team is, like, I originally looked at it as Josh Norris is your 1C and Tage is on the wing, because I feel like that's how they play it a lot more often. But I guess if you're looking at it as you go Tage and Norris, then I think that's very reasonable. But then, I don't know. They got so much trouble on the wing. Like, I don't think the roster's not complete.
No, well, nobody is. And that's not fair. We're not going to be like, hey, Kevin, you're what a joke of an offseason. They also have a lot of RFAs. Quinn's an RFA. And
we got 4 months till hockey.
Yeah.
Like, they got time to figure this out. Kevin Adams, based on his track record, I don't have confidence in him getting this done.
Yeah.
Why not?
There's still time for him to get it done.
I did this a few years ago where I made a video. I was like, I think it might have been the end of June. It might have been like July 5th. Yeah. And I'm like, here's what the Leafs roster would be if there were games tomorrow. Yes. And people, I was like, now there's a lot of summer left, and they still got to do this and they got to do that.
The fuck is wrong with you?
And people went, what do you mean?
You've never been flamed in the comments like on that.
Can you do it again?
Oh my God. I 100% will do it again.
Okay. All right. Do it again. I'm looking at their lineup. Remember, we forget about Ryan McLeod being an RFA, right?
That's not your answer.
Quinn is an RFA.
Well, here's some good news though. Like, they have all these RFAs that Adam's about to list, and way more than enough cap space to get them all.
Yeah. So Jack Quinn, Ryan McLeod, RFA. I'm just trying to think. Bo Byram, obviously. Devin Levi needs to be re-signed, but he only played 9 games last year.
I don't think he'll be too expensive.
I don't think so either. Which is that might work out great, because if Devin Levi is the Devin Levi we expect him to be eventually, that could be a killer deal. There's an opportunity here for Kevin Adams to change everything that we know and have seen about this guy.
Here's what everyone is just so damn smart, and will never allow themselves to say when it comes to pro sports. There's a wild amount of luck involved. Do you think the Colorado Avalanche got Nathan McKinnon on the best contract in the NHL because they're brilliant?
No, they got it because he underperformed.
They sucked shit in his contract year. The whole team sucked donkey shit for an entire year, and he wasn't good as a young player on a donkey shit team. They signed him to term, and weirdly, as the team got better, so did their first overall pick from 2013. And all of a sudden you have like a $10, $11, $12 million player for not even 6.5 for over half a decade. You know, like, this could happen to them. And one day we're going to be like, man, Kevin Adams, he's so brilliant.
Boy, did he ever change our minds.
He plays a good stooge on camera. But what I love about him is he's always so nakedly got an agenda that I'm like, I'm not talking to Kevin right now. I'm talking to the character Kevin.
He doesn't hide it, eh?
No.
You can read him like a book.
I'm talking to the character that Kevin Adams is playing today. And what I want Sabres fans to get off of, and others, because you do this too, Adam. Yeah, because who's the GM in Seattle right now?
Jason Botterill.
And oh man, well, you shit in Buffalo. Well, everyone to a man is ass.
Well, then you know what? None of them should take responsibility for it. You're right, Steve.
No, I'm just saying, I want to give them the same grain of salt that we gave Brad Treliving
Yes.
with his dumb meddling owners in Calgary.
I agree. And you know what? You're right. And you know what got me yesterday? I think it was Jeff Merrick reported. He's like, Kevin Adams has gotten permission from Terry Pegula to trade JJ Peterka.
Oh,
Because like he had who did they trade at the deadline? It was somebody. It was like a minor deal. And the report was Kevin Adams had to get the approval for that. Like every deal he does.
Yokiaru?
I think it was Yokiaru, actually. I'm pretty sure it might.
Oh, look.
Yeah, it was like a weird one. I think it was
wasn't
Yokiaru.
the middle stat deal.
No, it was not. But I think he would have had to get. But it was something extremely minor where he still's got to go to the owner too. So yeah, okay, fair.
Looking at the Sabres lineup, if they go Tage, Norris, McLeod down the middle, and then Peyton Krebs on the fourth as your fourth center,
And I think
that works. Byram would fill in one of the wings, so it'd be something like blank if you get a first line right winger, or blank on the second line, and then Tuck, Doan, Lafferty. So you got 3 out of 4 on the right side, and then the left side needs a little work too. It's Benson, Zucker, Quinn, Greenway. I think you could probably upgrade one of those fellas.
There's a lot.
And then-
So many of those guys are going to get better.
I'm trying to figure out.
But
I have to ask, guys.
No, you don't.
Why the Greenway deal?
I don't know, man.
I thought Jordan Greenway could be a good player.
Yeah, but
I thought he'd be a little bit.
when he signed that, his like career high in points was 32, and that was half a
Yeah,
decade.
but he's a tough guy. He's a guy you want in a playoff series.
He's been
and
injured, too.
And I feel like if you have him there on like if Greenway's on the Florida Panthers, like I feel like our attitude's different about him. I don't think he's worth $4 million.
Okay.
But I think he can hang in a playoff series.
Okay.
All
right.
That's just my thoughts on it.
All right.
For Kevin Adams on March 7th, which was the trade deadline, he made the Cousins Norris deal, which was obviously huge. Then there were 2 basically nothing deals. They got Eric Brandstrom for Nicolau Bay-Kubel, and they traded Henry Yokiaru for a 2026 fourth.
So that was the report that I read. That was in the Athletic or something. It was like an
For a
outside
fourth
comment.
round pick 2 years from now?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. The guy who was left, the only Finnish defenseman left off Team Finland, Henry Yokiaru.
Oh, poor Henry.
Nicholas Montenpalo's there.
That's so shit. I like him. He's not bad.
I like him too. I like
Yeah.
him too. BetMGM, the draft. It's a perfect pairing. Okay, now let's talk about. We talked a little bit about like who we would go with, whatever. Jesse, what else should we explore? What should we swim into?
On BetMGM?
Yes.
Let me pull up some of the draft odds. Do you want those?
Because we were talking about, like, remember we were talking about on the big story earlier. We're talking about like
Who's going third?
who's going third, who's going fourth.
I got something interesting for you, because since the last time we talked, I'm gonna avoid the draft. We did that, and who's going where. The Stanley Cup odds have changed. There is a new favorite to win the Stanley Cup according to BetMGM.
Does this make the Panthers third? Because they were second.
They were second.
Oilers were first.
Oilers were first.
Are they second now?
Are the Panthers now first?
I'm gonna give you a hint. The Oilers have dropped down to number 2.
Ooh.
The Panthers have dropped down to number 3.
It's gonna
Wow!
be the Toronto Maple Leafs.
What
Toronto Maple
team
Leafs.
has the best odds to win the 26th
They always
Stanley
do this.
Cup?
It's the Leafs. I guarantee it. It's the Leafs. It has to be.
Dallas Stars.
Adam, who's your?
I say
are your
Leafs
pick?
because it's always like, well, I'll take a bet on that.
So
Always gets Leafs fans.
Maddie, throw that up on the screen. Oilers 2, Panthers 3, Stars 4,
What? Hurricanes 5?
Hurricanes 5, Golden Knights 6, 7 Lightning, Devils 8, Kings 9.
It's got to be a Western Conference team, because I'm cheating because I'm looking at the bottom. Eastern Conference winner. Panthers are 1, Hurricanes are 2.
the team with the best odds to win the Stanley Cup next year. The Colorado Avalanche are 7-1 to win the Stanley Cup. I'm actually pretty shocked.
They lost in the first round.
Well, but they lost to the
Can you
eventual.
believe that?
They were Steve. They lost to the guys that lost to the guys who lost to the guys, which puts them at least 5th in the entire playoffs.
Are you betting that 7-1?
Hell yeah,
Not.
hell yeah! I'd take that. I like the Avs. I think they're great. Listen,
I do too, but
I think they drop.
I think the Avs are objectively with a full season of Landeskog. I think they're better than the Stars.
I think as the season goes on, like they fall down that list, and you can get better odds than that.
I never bet on like full season stuff. I am very begrudgingly sprinkling on the Panthers.
Right? That's
Third best
where you
odds?
that's where you got to get to with this thing.
For the back-to-back Cup champs?
Now might be the best time to bet on the Panthers.
But they played a lot of hockey.
Unless they dropped a 4th.
Right.
Like, what the?
Now,
All right.
I think that's crazy.
Log in or sign up today. BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. Must be 19 plus to wager. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. Gambling problem? Call Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 to speak with an advisor free of charge at the Planetarium. BetMGM operates pursuant to an operating agreement with iGaming Ontario. Guys, it was an ill-timed burp.
You got the old man
I
burp
thought it was
down.
a hiccup. Oh, my God.
No, he's 80.
Okay, so Jesse, the reason we had to delay today's show is because the Leafs got in the way of it.
Yes.
Brad Treliving was supposed to talk at 11 along with Mark Leach, who is the head of scouting. Obviously, that was then delayed to 12:30, so we're recording this later in the day. Let's talk about the Brad Treliving press conference, and I'm just going to sum it up from watching it from home. Tell me if this was your feeling on the ground, that for the most part, it was the Dua Lipa meme, go girl, give us nothing. There was just, he had things to say, but like, even when it came down to things like, are you going to qualify Nick Robertson and Pontus Holbrook? He's like, yeah, well, Nick's got a good set of skills.
They're not going to not qualify.
Yeah, they're going to be qualified. Yeah, because I think it's everybody. They already had the names out. It's 4 guys in this league that are not going to be qualified. They're going to become UFAs. I think
very, very
LeBron
shortly.
tweeted it out.
Yeah, everybody does it.
Cody Glass.
Yeah, I don't remember the names off the top
Yeah.
of my head. But yeah, so they're going to get their qualifying offers. So they're going to be around, but that's not a priority for him. If we're starting there, like the extra guys on the lineup outside of Tavares, Nyes, and Marner, and even Nyes, he's talking about how there's time with Nyes. He doesn't have to get this done immediately, and they can sit back and take their time with it and figure out what they can do in free agency and leading up to the next 48 hours to the draft, and then figure out their RFAs. So
he's not getting offer sheeted.
He's using the time he has available to him because Nyes isn't getting offer sheeted.
Tavares, though, he said that's a more defined deadline.
Exactly.
And it seems like that's probably an agent set deadline. Like, if July 1st rolls around, this hometown discount's off.
We got till Monday just for everybody in those negotiations. Once JT hits the market, like I don't think he's coming back, because that's usually the point of no return.
It's also a second line center. Like, it's a big decision. And listen, like, we got to figure out how to get like Granlund or someone else if it's not you.
Yeah,
like, we got to pivot
well,
fast.
the word is,
there's things like the JJ Peterka deal that are out there where it's like, if you knew you weren't going to get Tavares, maybe you should really go hard off or something like that.
I think it's Kipper that's been reporting that the Leafs no longer see Tavares as a second line center long term, or not long term, even next season. They prefer him be a third line center, hence why they want to pay him like one.
I just don't think that's true.
Okay, if you don't think that's fair, but
I believe that he heard that, but that he had almost 40 fucking goals. What are you talking about?
Do you have, Jesse, a sense of, like, when Brad was in the room? Because sometimes when you're in the room and you're talking to somebody, you can get a sense of like their mood when a topic comes up.
Yeah.
When he talked about John, he's like, we both expressed that we wanted to get to the same end, which is sticking together. What was the feeling from Brad rather than the words?
I think the company line is that this thing's going to get done.
Okay.
I think both sides believe that, and that he's been so open about how much John wants to stay and how much they want him since the season has ended. Like, I think he's spoken like twice, I guess.
A lot.
Since it's been done, since the season has ended. And every single time it's reiterating the point that like they want to get JT done. It's something they're focusing on. And I think like the deadlines are going to cause things to come to an end, and they're going to figure out a deal. And this is the whole negotiation part, is that we're hearing about, and like, hey, they're far apart, but like, that's how these negotiations work.
Right.
Yeah.
Deadlines clear the mind.
It gets done.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
Thank you guys for reminding me to about every hour or two, I just send CJ a photo of Steven Lorentz.
Because you just want to know?
I just want to know. Listen, if you have CJ's number, you abuse that privilege.
I don't. I try
You
not
do.
to.
No,
I don't believe in that philosophy at all.
you guys are idiots.
That's weird.
It's CJ. No, just be like, where's he going, Siege?
CJ's
When-
probably out right now going, Jesus, Steve must be recording. I'm not getting my phone.
When's he
on.
coming back?
On the go ahead, give us nothing train. I think it was a lot of the other guys, but he did give us something on Mitch Marner, which is the thing we've all been getting, but he gave it back to us, and at least we're hearing it from the horse's mouth. That once that he thinks Mitch Marner is going to hit free agency, barring some unforeseen change. Mitch Marner is no longer Toronto Maple Leaf, and that's coming from the GM. Whether you want to believe it or not, it is true. He's not sticking around.
I was disappointed he didn't comment on the William Karlsson and/or Thomas Hertl coming to the Leafs for the 8th year of Mitch Marner's contract. Guys, Pietrangelo isn't playing. And Mitch isn't signing for 8 or 7.
Guys,
I don't know how many times I need to say that.
There's a new CJ show out right now. Stop wasting your time. Listen to CJ show.
Thank you.
There's so much other.
It's crazy. It was crazy to me. Like, so I was talking to somebody yesterday that was pretty plugged in, and they're like, I think outside of like the Trent Frederick deal, 8-year deals are going to be for the players like a thing of the past. They're not. Nobody wants that. Even as a mid-range or a low-range player, why would you want that?
Oh, if you're Trent Frederick
and you've had a pretty serious injury,
you would absolutely want that.
Sure.
I actually think you're going to see quite a few.
Maybe on the high-end side, I guess. But I feel like if you're a guy who scores 50 or 60 points, that's worth what, $5 million now? In a few years, that's going to be 7 or 8.
Yeah, but what if you're Trent Frederick and you're useful, but you don't do that? Right? There's plenty of guys in the league that are like that, and they're useful, but you maybe, I don't want to give them. Anyway, I'm using the experience of 2012.
Okay.
In 2012, we got to get NHL owners and GMs, they got to get spending under control, and we got to figure this out. And Evander Kane, Tyler Seguin, fucking Zach Parise, Ryan Suter, like just all these way crazy, hyper expensive, multi-forever contracts that were signed like literally hours before the lockout began, and then they were illegal. But teams were able to ride those deals to cups for years and years to follow, mainly the Blackhawks. They were able to win 2 Stanley Cups with deals that were, when they won the cups, illegal to sign, with Duncan Keith and Marian Hossa. The Red Wings, I think, had some success. Like there were several teams that got in under the deadline and benefited from it for years to come. And I will bet, depending on when this CBA kicks in, because
it will be after next year.
Oh, well, then perfect.
Oh, there'll be deferred money this summer.
I think you're going to see. So I hope there's deferred money this summer, although the NHL sounds like they're going to try to get away with it.
They can't, though.
Well,
the CBA is the CBA, unless it's a retroactive CBA, which I would doubt.
Yeah, but Gary,
why would the players do that?
As a way of, hey, I would be really upset if you did this. Or you see a shitload of salary deferred and or 8-year contracts signed over the next little bit because they're going away.
Because they're going to 7 years.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Well,
cheat.
Here's a legal way to cheat.
Yeah.
You know something is going to not be allowed, but it's currently allowed.
Jesse.
Get in under the wire.
So Nyes, what was the feeling with Nyes? I mean, the best part of I thought that press conference was like Treliving's like, well, it's clear he's going to make more money than he did last year.
Yes, Treliving likes his little jokes.
Yeah,
he's very subtle.
He's jocular.
Yeah. I got like one little line that'll make you chuckle here and there.
He must have been awesome to play with.
Oh yeah, you think so?
Yeah, in the minors. Oh my god, you kidding?
Yeah,
Brad and his
the nice thing where we started the conversation. He's not a priority. I don't think like right now. He's not desperate to get Nyes done.
You are getting radioed for that.
It's not-
NHL rumor report is going to be like, Jesse Blake says Matthew Nyes is not a priority.
And I'm going to link to the full show.
Is on the back burner of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
They don't give a shit.
I am linking to the full show. I am on your ass, aggregators.
There's going to be a tweet.
I am on your ass.
Jesse Blake eviscerates Leafs front office.
And then it's like you, but AI, and your faces, or you're frowning and mad.
Stabbing Brad Treliving.
Your lips are moving, but your teeth aren't. It's just
No, the internet's fucking no misinformation.
No, it's cool.
Okay,
no
Kevin.
quotes taken out of context.
Okay, they're Kevin with Y.
So
the nice that he's got time. He's got time. He's not getting offer sheeted. They'll figure this out mid-July.
and if he does, then they'll have a choice to make.
Yeah. The other thing I think that was interesting that he said that was kind of I think important for the next couple of days. He alluded to the fact that it's more likely they trade back than up. He asked about trading up in the draft, and he said, we trade up, but like it's probably a trade down situation. And acquiring more picks.
So that speaks to something you both referenced earlier, and I think we got to expand on that. Yeah. Free just said it, CJ said it. People are like, listen, we say this every year, but there are a lot of first round picks available out there, and it's super weird. And yeah, I get it's not the deepest draft. But it seems to be more than normal. So I wanted to, because I think teams have more money to spend. So, those assets become differently valued.
That too.
Mark Leach talked about that, Jesse. And I want to kind of dive into that because that part is probably the biggest part for me for the future of this organization. Again, coming from a Leafs perspective where they have nothing in the cupboard, trading down is a very Kyle Dubas thing. We have a little PTSD from that.
Well,
missing out on guys like, I don't know, DeBrincat.
That just means he made bad picks.
Sure.
Like
it's a
the
smart
logic
strategy.
The logic is there, yes.
So my question to you, Jesse, is what was it that they said? Why did they say it that way? What's the Leafs philosophy on that? Because they're not even picking until like 65.
64 is the pick.
How dare you?
This time of year is fun because you hear from different people. It's the first time I've ever seen Mark Leach speak.
And I love him.
Amateur scouting.
I love his history.
For the Leafs. He came from the Dallas Stars, who have a great track record of drafting. So it's exciting to see what he's going to do with this this draft here coming up. And he's very comfy picking at 64. And I love that he talked about the idea of picking for talent as opposed to positional need. He says no matter like what moves Treliving makes ahead of the draft or during the draft, or whether they pick at 64 or later, it's whatever player comes up when their pick is on the table. Whoever's best on their trade board or on their draft board, that's who they're taking.
I will say they always say that.
They do.
No one has ever been like, we are drafting.
Actually,
but
that's
D
not
come
true.
hell or high water.
That's not true.
A lot of
Leafs.
front offices say that, but when they get to that moment, they're like, you know what, we need a goalie, and they draft a goalie. And I think it's good to hear him say it because I think we know he's going to stick to it.
It's one of my favorite things to see, like whenever I'm just hockey DB surfing every year is, at this moment, teams went, shit, we got to get a goalie.
Yeah.
One goalie goes and then they go, no. And then there's like 5 picked that round.
Or the teams are like, we need a defenseman and we're taking 3 right-handed shots in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round, because we want those for our organization. But I think Mark Leach is like calm and cool, and he's got his head on his shoulders, and he knows that when that pick comes up, he's going to take the best player available. Who cares where the Leafs are in right now, because that player's coming up in 3 to 5 years, and that's when they're going to be a part of this organization. So we can't predict where the team is at the NHL level at that point.
Another reason why that strategy is great is they need everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, and big and competitive were 2 words that came up. Can we talk about that a little bit?
So he was asked specifically about like the defensemen, and Leach referenced this year's playoffs, and he said, look at the defensemen who are out there during these playoffs. They're big. So we know that Treliving and Leach want big defensemen. That is a thing he said is a strategy we've seen for them take in the last couple of years, and I think they're going to continue with that.
I think it's interesting. One of the things that really stands out to me, one of Wes Clark's last availabilities was post-draft last year. And he said, well, when they talked to him about Danford, and he said, well, you know how Tree likes him, which is not how we like him. It's how Tree likes him. Now, a few days later, he left for Pittsburgh, and it might have just been a turn of phrase.
Well, he also got Nyes, right? Like,
I'm not saying that he doesn't like big people. What I'm saying is that
He hates him big.
he certainly didn't own that.
He hates Jesse.
He didn't say that for us was a can't miss.
Right.
He didn't say I really own that one. I'm really proud we got him.
Mhm.
It was we know how Tree likes him.
Yeah, Ben Danford, by the way, who's 6'2", 194 right now.
And
So I think
awesome.
So I think part of that is maybe Wes and maybe neither are wrong, but Wes and Tree probably didn't see eye to eye. Hence why Wes went to Pittsburgh to break bread with only the people he would die for.
Yeah.
And Leach is in,
That's interesting.
and they probably just align on strategy a little bit better.
Mm.
I mean, Tree is literally. I don't think people realize there's like over 100 people in the Leafs front office, right? You guys know that, right?
Well, okay, but that's saying every scout is a member of the front office,
and it is.
which
There,
All right.
there are estimates out there that most teams are about 60 to 70. Leafs are probably double.
Yeah, I brought that up on the show when the Leafs got eliminated.
There you go.
When Kipper said it on Sportsnet Central, and he was talking about how when Keith Pelly he's more focused on the Leafs, get rid of Brendan Shanahan. Now he's going to put his stamp on the organization, and it seems like a lot of his philosophy behind the scenes is cutting in the front office because the Leafs are a bloated front office.
And none of them are. By the way, none of them were hired during Treliving's tenure, or at least
a lot of
them are left over.
if you have 11 billion scouts and never have any picks, I have terrible news for you.
Yeah, and like Keith Pelly isn't cutting he's not like looking at the scouting department to cut. He's talking about like the extra chefs they have and massage therapists. And that sort of
don't
thing.
tell Frank Corrado.
There's a lot of bloat in the MLSE right now, and I think they're looking at the department.
Well, and listen, we've all worked for Rogers before.
Yeah,
They are fanatical cost cutters.
yes,
They don't like a penny.
I don't even think it has anything to do with the Maple Leafs, and I think it has a lot to do with that red company over there who now owns the team fully because of the closing of the Bell.
Well, hold on. Omers owns 5%, and Larry still owns his 20%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But-
quitting wasn't that hard. It's like quitter, I get fired. That's how this ends.
That's why, if anybody pays attention to the Raptors, Masai Ujiri's position is likely to be eliminated at some point, I've been told, because they don't believe in having presidents of these franchises. They think that's what the CEO is for.
Before going too down the Rogers thing, can I do a little behind the scenes?
Give it to me.
For Danford. So we're getting all these OHL, WHL, QMJHL highlights that we're going to be able to use in our draft show tomorrow. But one thing I've requested is Cowan and Danford highlights. Maybe we'll talk about them, or maybe they'll get traded. That's why it's important. We've been sent a lot of this stuff, but it's like goals and assists. And I said to producer Drew and producer Hayden, I'm like, no. That you're going down you're barking up the wrong tree with Danford. Here, use this. And I just started sending them links. Holy shit. Is this kid killing people in the OHL?
Yeah.
Running them the fuck over.
Well, he's a big boy, right? So-
Running them over, and then someone gets in his face for it, and then he beats their ass too. It's awesome.
I have heard from people that have seen him play regularly that he needs to make better decisions with the puck at the next level. Because he does, from what I've heard, he makes questionable calls with the puck decisions.
Well, and the Leafs said the opposite. They're like, well, despite the fact that he doesn't really put up... Yeah. He's what a baby. No. They said despite the fact that he doesn't put up points, we actually like his skills with the puck. I think that was Wes Clark.
Yeah.
I'd have to find the exact quote, but this kid, I really don't want him to go. I don't
think he will.
I
don't think they're trading him. I don't think they're trading him.
Why are you
Steve,
making
why are you
things
kicking
up?
him
I'm
out
having
of
a
the
conversation with myself, Jesse, and you guys keep interrupting me.
You're giving yourself anxiety for over nothing.
Steve sits in his backyard, goes, man, I hope nobody fills this pool in with concrete.
What if they did?
Sure like swimming in this pool.
The odds of that happening are so low, but you never know.
You don't.
Some broccoli-haired YouTube prankster is going to come and fill my pool in.
Trade Ben Danford.
And I'm going to come home and be like, what? And they're going to be like, bro's so mad. Unk is mad. Unk is big mad.
CJ did say on the show yesterday that the Leafs and Tavares are inching toward a deal. So we'll leave the Leafs for now.
Are slow and fast.
Yeah.
Like it'll get done in the next 5 days, but it's going to be a slow 5 days.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got the long weekend to think about it.
It
Now,
was cool to hear from Mark Leach, just to summarize that, to hear his philosophy behind everything. It's good.
How does he smell?
Delicious.
Yeah.
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 The hockey dressing room smells like a dressing room.
Oh, are you allowed to tell the Berube story?
I think I can.
Yeah, tell it. Just tell it. Whatever.
So
we get in trouble for this. I don't think we
I'm
could.
not gonna get in trouble for this. We go in the locker room. We're waiting around there. All the cameras are set up. Everybody's got their microphones and everything. Out from behind one of the doors, there's like 4 different entries. You know, you never know where someone's coming out. And somebody walks by, and it's Craig Berube. And I don't think he knew that the media had entered the dressing room yet. And he looks at everybody, and then somebody yells, "Are you going to answer some questions?" And he's like, "I'm working on the power play." And then he puts on his glasses and walks out.
I like it.
I like it a lot.
It was he gave a big smile, and then he walked out. It was good.
Great story, Jesse. Credentials revoked.
There's a lot going on. The Leafs they're working hard right now. There's a lot of activity happening at Ford Performance Center in terms of bringing in a bunch of prospects and kids to work out. So
that's cool.
Oh, is that where you were today?
yes.
Yeah, that's why it
I
was
thought
so.
it was at Scotiabank.
No.
They don't work out. They're done at Scotia.
Oh,
You know,
Yeah,
they're-
because that's a concert venue now.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're-
okay.
They're doing all the renovations and everything, so
Yeah.
they're not there till training camp, or not even training camp. They're not there till like preseason games.
Yeah.
The
back
old
in.
FPC.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. They held us back a little because they delayed the scrum, and during that window, we weren't allowed to see the ice because people were on the ice that they didn't want us to see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like prospects.
I might get credentials revoked for all this, but
No, I
yeah,
don't think so.
they wouldn't let us in.
The Leafs are potentially watching prospects the day before the draft.
It's not prospects because the prospects
Oh.
they're gone. They're in LA or wherever, right?
Well, excuse me while I gasp my lungs out.
They're
Jesse.
working out people.
It's Yanni Hakanpää.
It might have been Hawk
Hell
and Paul.
yeah!
Mark Masters made that joke. Yeah.
I love Mark so
Mark
much.
Masters said
He's
it
so
could have
great.
been Hawk and Paw.
Come on, Maddie, the Hawk and Pack lives.
Maddie, they were hiding Hawk and Paw from us. They didn't want us to see him working out.
Bring back Hawk and Poppy.
Yeah, so somebody was on the ice that we weren't allowed to see because I would have blabbed about it on this microphone. The decentralized draft, last thing. Sorry.
Oh, yeah,
A
give
million
it to
things
us.
I think came out of that. Mark Leach was asked about it and like how that changes things. And he's like, it's fine. Like we do this and we'll do things over Zoom and all that. And we have practice, but it hurts when last minute they want to look at a guy again. So a couple days before the draft, when the draft is in Nashville or it's in LA, they're all in LA. They want to take a guy at 64. They want to re-up their conversation with him. When everything's happening in LA, they call him. They say, come to our hotel. We'll book a room. We'll chat. And they'll see if they want to actually draft him. Right. Now it's difficult because it's all remote and you got to get him on a Zoom call and it's not as personal.
Okay, and I get that. Mm-hmm. Just please, God, remember that this is a TV show. Just for fuck's sakes, okay? I'm excited about tomorrow. We're starting, our draft stream was 4 hours and 5 minutes last year. It probably goes longer this year. Although, Drew keeps telling me, wait a second, Adam, you don't know that. Because of the decentralized nature, it's going to be Gary coming out making the pick. So it might actually move like the NFL and NBA ones do. And the NBA one was
a slog too.
It's a slog. Yo, okay, I don't mind people being there. Mm-hmm. I mind it being 4 hours.
Here's what I'm worried about, and this affects the first round less than day 2. What if it's like what it was during COVID? Day 2 was criminal activity.
Mm-hmm.
That it was like my wife was getting so pissed because I'm pretty sure
I remember nothing of this.
Was Leo born? Because it was like dinner time. And she's like, are you coming up yet? I'm like, they're still doing shit. They're still making picks. I want to say day 2 was 8 hours digitally.
And it's usually about 5, 6. Isn't it? I mean, they
No,
fire
it's like 3.
Yeah, they fire
because they just, all right, you don't, all right. Hopefully you got picked yesterday, and if you didn't, you don't matter, and they just roll through it. Day 2 is like either as long or shorter than day 1.
Yeah.
Listen, hopefully it's not bad.
I think Bill Guerin's a funny guy. I really enjoy his quips. And he's got a good one in this show, and I'll talk about that. I thought he was hilarious on Agent Provocateur. Yeah. I don't want him walking up to the microphone and making 40,000.
We want to thank all our fans at Rusty's.
Yeah, like
friggin' get out of here.
Do you like when they go up and they congratulate the Florida Panthers?
No.
Every team's like, congratulations to the Florida Panthers on a championship.
And people will look at you unironically and they'll go, well, that's the classy thing to do. That's what I think. Do you think
Anybody listening, give a middle finger.
Oh, yeah. We're worrying about the classy thing to do. Have you watched a moment of the Panthers celebration? They've been going around going, fuck you to everybody.
David.
Yeah, fuck Big David. Fuck the Oilers. And Marchand going on there and going, Wallman, eat this fucking asshole. And let's worry about class, guys. Let's worry about class. You're right.
Brad Treliving was also asked about the decentralized draft and spoke about some of the problems as well, because he can't go up to a table and make a trade. You know,
He'll have to get the double phone. Did he unlock the second phone?
Day two is going to take forever.
He's going to unlock all his Blackberries in NHL. But
unlock your damn Blackberries.
It's just a little easier when it's day two. It's the middle of the draft. You can walk up to the table and make a deal with Bill Guerin.
Dude, why do you think there's been like 4 or 5 trades over the last 24 hours? They're all dreading this tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. I think
it's going to be terrible.
We're going back to the regular ass draft,
which is cool.
Yeah,
that's
100%.
great. And you know what? I'd like to be there. I'm
would
just
also like
asking that it be a better production. Okay, so Frédérick Gaudreau was traded today.
There's one.
He was traded to the Seattle Kraken. He's 32. He's got 3 more years left at $2.1 million annually. He did have and still does have, because remember, you used to waive your no trade clause and never get it back. Now you can waive your no trade clause and you get to keep it. That is dumb. But, you know, it's the NHL, so
they fixed it.
Yeah. So he had a 5-year, $10.5 million extension that he signed 2 years ago. And so, you know, this is a guy that had, you know, almost 40 points in 82 games. Depth pick. The Kraken are making moves. They're just so vanilla.
Oh,
they're just so vanilla.
Yeah, but that's
and I understand what the Wild are doing. They're dropping salary so that they can. I mean, Kaprizov's. I think no one has talked about the Kaprizov extension, and I think that's weird. Why is nobody talking about that?
Well, they just freed up a little space.
Yeah, but that still doesn't affect them for this coming season. I guess
it's the real NHL, Adam.
It's the real NHL. They don't talk about shit.
Storm all the time.
Whoa.
I'm just curious, like, what is?
Yeah, they don't like care.
They don't.
What do you mean you got to pay to go?
In Edmonton and Toronto, all we're hearing about is extensions and all this. But like the real NHL, they don't talk about those things.
I think that I have a question. And I know it's incomplete. Right now, it's June 26th. This is a completely unfair question. I don't get, and I've said this from the expansion draft, and I'll say it today. Don't understand what Ron Francis is doing. Don't get it. What are they on? Coach 4 at this point? It's 3 or 4. Bilesma, Hackstall, and there was a guy before Hackstall too.
I don't think there was.
There absolutely was. Look it up. Let's look it up.
I think your pants.
I think your pants.
This all could be solved with Google.
We're gonna guess. I'm gonna sit here and guess at it.
Here, let me help.
And then you bring in Botterill, who was failing in Buffalo. Grain of salt.
I'm not helping you too.
List of Kraken. Keep going, Adam.
And now
do it too. You friggin' tap dance while I look it up.
And now nothing against Frédérick Gaudreau. What are they doing? Are they gonna
2021 to 2024? Dave Hackstall, eat shit.
About Bilesma.
It was the next one.
Oh, okay. So Francis is on 4 coaches or 3 coaches in 5 years.
3. I'll kill you. It's 3.
He's on his second general manager.
That's also using the truth to lie. Like Francis got kicked upstairs.
Is it using the truth to lie?
Yes,
or did
it is.
Vegas whoop their fucking ass?
Well, okay.
I'm sorry. Listen, I know Vegas is the extreme end.
Yeah.
But when we talk about
Vegas whooped their ass.
Vegas is their closest comparable. They came in like 2 years later.
They had different rules.
They did have different rules.
They had completely different rules.
Different rules and an NHL terrified to do anything.
Nobody knew how to handle the Vegas draft. Like people were absolutely dog shit at that expansion draft. And when Seattle came in, everyone's like, "Oh, let's not just give them our best players."
Because Seattle set a price, and they're like, "If you don't meet this price, we're not going to do it."
No,
GM Vegas is like, "Let's work with you."
No, that's
no.
You're
bending the history.
No, I'm not. I think the Kraken. I need to know what Kraken hockey is.
GM.
Other than mid-level guys.
Can I remind you that at the beginning of last season, the two of you sat here and said they were a playoff.
Well, yeah, exactly. Because they've just gone to the second round, and then you know what I saw?
I like what they're doing.
It's
this piece of shit.
What are they doing? So they got another guy who doesn't score a lot. Let's just
my God.
I need another guy who scores 20 to 40 points in this lineup. Please, God.
Here's what I think you get. Because
I'm going to go sign Chandler Stevenson and Brendan Montour.
Their best pieces are very young. What are young forwards almost exclusively shit at?
Scoring a lot of points.
Well, defense.
Yeah.
I would say some of them come in and they score a shitload of points.
Some of them take a while. Joe Thornton.
Yes. Frédérick Gaudreau helps free up some of their high-end young talent. This is a team that wants to be built from the back end out, and they're sort of weirdly in the middle. And I wonder if part of the reason they struggle so much to score is they just have all these guys playing uber conservatively, not to mention they just brought in Lane Lambert to be their coach, right? So I think Frédérick Gaudreau will be a dream for him because that guy managed the Leafs penalty kill.
Sure did.
And was one of the...
That's not his job now, though.
He was on... That's true, but he was on a bench with Mark Savard and was still looked at as the one that needed to calm down the most.
Agreed.
That's kind of crazy. So you have someone you can give defensive assignments to free up Mason Marchman, who you just got, Shane Wright, who had a real breakout year, Matty Beniers, who's looking to get back to form, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
What is Kraken hockey?
Defensive.
You mentioned him there, Steve, but I think he's a big chicken shit baby by the way he plays hockey on the ice, but I think it's going to help the Kraken. Mason Marchman is a big deal.
Big chicken shit babies win.
If you're looking for identity, there's an identity creator for this team. Like there's a guy who's going to go out there and be a piece of shit and lead with that type of attitude. So if you're looking for a culture change with the Seattle Kraken, they are making moves slowly to go in that direction.
And
teams are trying to get bigger and meaner. We saw the Sabres do it. Just now, we saw the Kraken do it. It's going to be
it's all these like non-playoff teams too. It's like, well you can't be that mean during the regular season.
They're trying to get mean they have aspirations of being not shitty.
Of course. And there's an opportunity in the Pacific Division. You know, I think there's an opportunity for them to come in and make the playoffs.
What did Vancouver Canucks do? They tried to get bigger and meaner.
I'm not saying the Kraken are bad because I want them to be. This is where fan groups get a little nuts. I'm like,
you tell the truth.
I'm wondering what are you? What are you?
I understand that.
And last season, I asked myself the whole time, what are you?
I understand.
Yeah. Are you? How many Oliver Bjorkstrands can we have on one roster?
Well, they have 0.
I never think that's fair when people take an analysis of a situation as something you're rooting for or you think or something you want to happen. It's like if you predicted that the Florida Panthers were going to win the Stanley Cup on day 1 of the season, it doesn't mean you want the Leafs to lose the cup.
Well,
you're
also
just analyzing what you think is going to happen.
You know, Steve's just not a fan. He likes when they lose.
You want the Leafs to win. Well, so if people are on you about the Kraken, it doesn't mean you want that to be the result.
We'll also talk about the deficiencies of the Kraken and the Sabres, and people go, well, what about the Leafs? And I'm like, what about them?
That's not what
we're talking about.
You'll be blown away by this. We've based our entire podcast on it. The deficiencies of the Leafs.
Yeah.
I think my point is I need to see Ron Francis needs to show me identity. If you're going to keep this job, show me identity.
He's working on it.
What are you?
He's
been working on it. Now, Joey Decourt.
Oh, they got Foligno too.
Delicious. Okay. I think Beniers is great. Kakko's interesting because when he came over from New York, sneakily, I like the way he played.
And they've done this a couple times. Kaapo Kakko and Eli Tolvanen.
Eli Tolvanen was like a big high-end Nashville prospect that just, you know.
2 24-year-old Finns that both teams that got them were like, all right, come in and be good immediately. You're not, fuck off. And now here they are playing the best hockey of their careers, both of them, with the Kraken. They're a real slow burn, and there's definitely some things they could have done better coming out of the gate.
I think now that they have Nyman in the lineup, they're going to get Nick David and Nysidel. And maybe
you're the worst.
Nugent Hopkins. I think they're going to get him too.
Hey, you know what?
Maybe
Nurse might look good back there. Literally.
I'm going to jump over the table.
Narnell Nurse.
Yeah, Narnell Nurse is going to get there too. So.
Nick
drop kick you through the table.
Yo, that Grubauer deal stinks. But other than that, like I look at the Alexiak deal, I never liked, but hey, they're in the last year of it. Who cares? It seems like Vince Dunn was such a killer pickup. Like that one was one of the good ones. Jared McCann was a great pickup. You know, as you said, Steve, Shane Wright's starting to look like an NHL player. Sometimes it takes a bit. I look at this and I go, what? But like, give me an adjective, right? And that's if defensive is what it's going to be.
They're getting there.
Grubauer can't be playing next year.
No, like
Grubauer,
he should be playing.
Should be priority number one.
They're
buy him
one
out, right?
Yeah, or call Steve Eisman and go, "What will you give me?"
they're one
eighth
that's
goaltender.
hilarious. They are one moderately okay 1B away from
Yo,
making the play.
I would
Okay.
love to see if you have 10 minutes to do the experiment, if they got 900 goaltending out of Grubauer the entire season, what would their record be?
dude, if you,
I think a playoff team.
if the only person they sign other than their RFAs on July 1st is Jake Allen,
Yeah.
I'm putting them in the playoffs. Decord Allen?
Alan Decord would be very good.
With that, listen, the defense core isn't the most mobile. Alexiak and Larson and some of these
I don't think
guys.
it's designed to be.
I don't think it is either. I think it's designed to be you shall not pass.
Yeah.
Sort of,
You shall not
rangy.
pass and Vince.
And
Dunn.
Vince Dunn. Yeah. So fine. Your forward group, I can work with that. You're gonna have to get a little tougher. Mason Marchment helps with that. Frédérick Gaudreau, defensive. Okay, I get it. All right, we're starting to think here.
Yeah, we're cooking.
But I'm not. I need it. There's got to be. I guess it's got to be Beniers and Wright who become like the stud.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a second and a fourth overall pick. Like that's exactly. I think everything is going according to plan. I do.
You do not think that.
I do.
You do
I
not
think they made the playoffs a little early and it skewed things.
Okay.
And did really well.
Yeah.
With
And they
Grubauer
won
somehow.
around. They beat Colorado that year. It was great. But coming back this past season, the expectations shouldn't have been there back in the playoffs.
Yeah, I also think you got to shelter a guy like Matty Beniers a little bit more and allow him to score more. Hence why Steve talks about Frédérick Gaudreau. Like he saw a he had that 57 points in his first full year, and then it's been sort of reduced since
Can't
then.
have Chandler Stevenson do everything.
Yeah.
What if he's not there?
What if he's hurt?
Yeah.
He's not that guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is a year where Matty Beniers needs to get 25 plus goals, 40 plus assists.
And I think that's perfectly reasonable.
Okay. And in his rookie year, 24 goals, 33 assists.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's perfectly reasonable.
Okay.
I am buying what they're selling. I'm sprinkling.
That's
in the
not
crack.
superstar level, though. 20 and 40 is not superstar.
That's not how they're built.
Okay. All right. Just asking the question.
Philip Grubauer buyout should have happened yesterday. I think it makes so much sense.
It's so funny that Vlasic's on waivers today and Grubauer isn't.
It's $3.9 million in savings this offseason. It's $2.8 million in savings next offseason. And then all you got to pay him is 1.6 for the other 2 years that are going to be on the books.
You could get like a pretty decent goalie for the amount of money that would make up Grubauer.
Well, that's probably Jake Allen's salary, $4 or $5 million, isn't it?
I guess the strategy is just hope he's better.
I think so.
That cannot be your strategy at this point. Are you fucking kidding me?
No, dude, he was.
No.
Why does that make you so
When has Philip Grubauer been good?
Because he's
and
unplayable.
It's not that he's bad.
Yeah.
Yes,
He's
it is.
not playable.
Yeah.
Like bad is one thing. There are players that are like, he's bad. He's had a bad year. Grubauer is like, you put him in, it's an L.
He was, I think it was 8-17-3 or something. Like, holy fuck. Like, forget the save percentage. You were not winning a game with this person in
Yeah,
net.
he had 8 wins in 26 games and 875 save percentage. He hasn't had a plus 900 save percentage since 2020, 2021.
How about
That's Colorado.
plus 890? How about plus
the
890?
first 4 years of the 5-year deal they signed him to,
Yeah.
he has had 889, 895, 899, and 875. Guys, it ain't working.
That's the biggest difference.
The most
between,
wins he's had is 18 in 55 games.
That's insane. That's the biggest difference between Vegas and Seattle. Is Vegas got Fleury out of the gate.
Yeah, like what?
He stole their first ever game.
Yep.
Right. And then continued to do so.
and got Mike Babcock fired.
And which was awesome. We appreciated it. And then Seattle's got Grubauer. Ew.
Yeah. Are you? I mean, Steve, they didn't have to. And they also didn't need to sign him to that deal. That's where I put that.
It's 6 years, by the way, not 5.
Oh, so he's got
What?
2 more left? Or is it 1 more?
yeah, 2 years.
It's 2.
Two left.
Yep.
Yeah.
When he
6-year deal.
signed the deal, I was like, well, you need a goalie. And there you go. And then he played game 1 with the Kraken. And I went, oh dear. And then he played game 2 and said, heavens to Betsy. And then he played game 3. And I was like, okay, this might just be what he is.
There's
Look at that nonsense.
There's
Oh,
ugly
the game
goaltending from the game log of Philip Grubauer from this past season.
Here's your season. Loss, win. Loss, win. Wow, look at that. Loss, win in overtime. Win! Holy shit, that's the second time I won back-to-back games. Guess what? Loss.
No, one of those in there, they got a point. It was a shootout.
Yeah.
Hey!
Way to
Talking
go,
about-
idiots.
Yeah.
Lost. Oh, he won his final game of the season. There you go.
Yeah, 3-3.
In a shutout or shootout.
Shootout, but he had a 870.
I thought it was a shutout too for a
He had
sec.
an 870 save percentage that game.
That's
Dude
hot.
stunk.
Yeah, not good.
His lowest save percentage is a 250.
Bro, what?
Yeah, against Detroit, he got pulled on.
Against Detroit!
He had one save on 4 shots, allowed 3 goals.
And what's crazy, like I'm just looking at the amount of goals he allowed in these games. He's not getting shelled. Like, it's not like he's allowing 5, 6, 7 goals a game. He's putting
I
up
don't know.
875. He allowed 7 goals and made 19 saves in a game.
Yeah.
Against the Sharks!
Yeah, they lost 8.
Get out of the league! What?
They lost 8-5 that night.
Holy Santa Claus balls!
I'd say he's getting shelled pretty often.
Yeah. Hey.
No, but like what I'm saying is,
I guess the plan is just hope that it works.
no. What I'm saying is the Kraken aren't hanging him out to dry, and he's just getting killed, right? Like what?
Oh, right.
No, they're allowing like 20, 25
Yeah.
shots a game,
Yeah.
and he's just allowing everything.
Yeah, the shot count, the save counter, and the shot counter are actually pretty reasonable.
How many 30-plus save games did he have last season? 1, 2, 3. Wow, he had 3 straight.
It's 3. That's
It's
it.
3 holy shitting games
Also, if
in the
you-
NHL? Are you kidding me?
If you look at the goal differential when he's in the net in the losses, it's not like 1 or 2. It's 3 to 5.
Yeah, that was the point Steve was making.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, because you're 10 minutes into the first and you're dead already.
And one of
Like-
the games he won last year was a 7-5 victory. Another one was a 6-4 victory.
Against who?
Another one was a 5-4 victory. So the ones where he actually won, where this Kraken had to score 1 million goals.
So bring that back up. Okay, Philly, boo, you stink.
He won.
What was the other one?
6-4.
San Jose, boo. Oh no, that's a loss. 8-5
The Rangers,
loss.
who stunk, he won 7-5.
The Rangers, the Sharks seem to have the book on Grubauer and that shoot. Like, dude,
Yeah.
you were awful last year. This is what I banged that drum all season. I'm like, okay, why aren't we paying attention to Seattle is perfectly fine. It's just their backup goalie sucks.
By the way, the
Holy
Gaudreau
cow.
trade now gives the Minnesota Wild 5 draft picks this weekend. They're like the Leafs. Most of their draft picks, by the way, are from other places. Seattle, obviously. gave
5
them
like total?
5 total.
Oh, okay.
Round 2, 2 in round 4, and then a 5 and a 6. For the Minnesota Wild, there is obviously the rumor out there because Brock Besser lives there and is on vacation right now and flying back into town for free agency. Guess where? The Twin Cities. And
It's a vacation
and
if he lives there?
No. He's flying back into the town where he lives
Oh.
from vacation.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I don't like listening.
the thought is that he's
I wasn't
instantly going to
listening.
sign there.
I'm sorry.
Apparently not. Apparently that's not totally set. Like they're willing to open and listen up to anybody. I'm curious for you guys with the Minnesota Wild kind of sneakily dropping more salaries. They got a lot of, the Rossi thing's interesting because he's still an RFA. They bring in Besser. You've got Zuccarello, Boldy on the right side. You got Kaprizov, Urov, and Foligno on the left side. Trennan is obviously on the right side. Like this is sneakily becoming a pretty good team, great team.
Oh, yeah.
I get the sense that if add one more, you add a Brock Besser and like a good center to that list, and
How about just not have one of the best players in the league be out half the season? Like Kaprizov could have won the Hart.
yeah,
We'll never know.
like this is a really good team. This is crazy.
They get saves.
Yeah.
They lose Fleury.
Yep. Great defense, man.
Yeah, really good decor. They lose Fleury, but you then gain. Oh shit! Who's the kid? Wallstedt.
Yeah.
Jesper Wallstedt playing with Philip Gustafsson.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
If David Jurchek's ready to take a step with Zeev Buyum, Like both of those guys,
they're just in
like that's nuts.
Such a good spot.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's amazing what they've done with that $15 million cap penalty. By the way, their pending unrestricted free agents are Nyquist, Brazeau, Devin Shore, Travis Boyd, and Tyler Madden. All good depth guys, serving various purposes.
They might stay, they might not.
Doesn't matter. That's a July 2nd problem, probably. Yep. Okay, so let's talk about a little bit about what's leaking out about this new CBA. First thing we know is that it's going to be an 84-game season going forward. This aligns the divisions better so you can play 4 games against everybody. But, before everybody freaks out on this, all it means is they are subtracting from the preseason and adding to the regular season. It's not, first off, everybody makes more money.
Yeah.
The owners, the players, everybody makes more money. And we get less bullshit preseason games.
It's the same amount of games, just more that are worth caring about.
Yeah. And earlier. And the idea, I think, apparently, is to move the start time of the NHL further and further closer to September, potentially even starting games in September eventually.
I would love that.
That would be the best. Players are pushing for, there is a rumor that there will be no dress code in the coming CBA, because there is one now.
What is the dress code?
I think you got to wear a suit.
Oh, yeah.
And Bill Guerin said that's a Ron Hainsey special right there, because Ron Hainsey is one of the guys who is leading the NHLPA, and Ron Hainsey's not known for his great dressing.
So I love
that really famous picture of him at the Pittsburgh Penguins parade where he's wearing like leather shoes and baggy jeans. And
I love that because it has nothing to do with NHL players wanting to like show off their flashy style. It's all about Ron Hainsey showing up in brown shoes and a beer t-shirt.
And his Hummer. Remember he drove a Hummer?
He drives a Hummer.
And CJ put that out there, and Ron got up to him in the dressing room and was like, hey, man, why'd you tell everybody that?
No, he screamed up at him into the stands, why'd you tell people what I drive? It's one of my favorite moments of CJ on this show. Holy shit. Such a good story.
Elliot also mentioned the CBA could allow some first-round picks from the CHL to have AHL eligibility earlier than currently allowed. Now, listen, no disrespect to what Easton Cowan and the London Knights accomplished this year. It was magic, second year in a row. But I can tell you, and probably Easton could tell you, he would much rather have been in the AHL making $1 million on a rookie deal,
or even a quarter,
or $100,000 making whatever he was going to make in the AHL. And at least would have probably rather had him there as a developmental prospect. It makes sense. It also makes sense that not everybody needs to jump into the AHL because, frankly, not everybody can. The AHL is a hard league. Mm-hmm. It's a low scoring league. I don't think people it's like not like you're not just going to take every young prospect you get every year of the 7 draft picks that you make and throw them on your AHL roster. It doesn't happen.
The shots are a little worse. The passing is a little worse. The play reading is a little worse. Like they're really good players, but they're all a step behind the NHL.
Yeah. And
they're not some form.
They're not within a short age window. They're not within a 5-year age window. It's guys who are 18 and it's guys who are 40.
Like 42.
Yeah. So it's the best of basically the rest. And
when I was looking at Alex McGillney's stats, because he went into the Hall of Fame, his last professional season, he played in the AHL.
Really?
And I was like, what are you doing down there?
I think he was really injured in his last pro.
No, you go look at his numbers. Like he was a killer down there.
It's crazy.
And then he was in the NHL and he did fine as well. So it was 05-06, so I don't remember exactly what was going on there, but
I remember being sad when he left the Leafs. There will be a comprehensive playoff salary cap mechanism, which, as we've mentioned before, essentially means that you can bring as much money into the playoffs as you want, but your roster on game day, in terms of like who you're dressing, needs to be cap compliant. Player terms will be limited to 7 years. If they're re-signing with their old club, 6 years on the free agent market, I don't think anybody cares. I don't know why the NHL cares so much. Like, that's a real push from NHL head office that I'm sure the NHLPA was like, yeah, okay. And I think it's probably because a lot of 8-year deals just don't work out that well. Especially
very rare
in a flat cap world, they didn't work out that well.
It's probably not something the PA fought very hard to protect because who has them?
Well, I look at a guy like William Nylander, and I'm like, man, your contract is literally going to be 5 years from now still an quote unquote illegal contract, right? Because it will be from the previous CBA.
You need them to win. You need the Blackhawks prove that. You need them to win.
Signing rights to draft picks will be uniform across the board. So until age 22, And that's interesting. They're going to outlaw player deferrals. Signing bonuses will be capped at 60%. So previously, players could negotiate to earn everything through bonuses, but the league minimum on their salary for both tax and investment benefits, blah, blah, blah. Basically, it's going to be signing bonuses will be capped at 60% of your total deal. So if, say, Jonathan Toews, if the max of his deal, if the Jets win the cup, is $7 million, then roughly $4 million of that would have to be guaranteed, and the $3 million would have to be bonus. So if Jamie Benn signs his contract, which he did today, and $1 million of that is it's a $4 million deal.
There's been so much news.
It is official.
Yeah.
It is official.
Wow.
Jamie Benn signed $4 million, but it's bonus laden, and only $1 million is guaranteed.
Okay.
So, I mean, if he played 0 games, it would be $1 million, but he's going to, 20, 30, 40, whatever.
Yep.
Revenue split stays at 50-50. Significant increase in the Stanley Cup playoff bonus pool fund. Doubles the previous amount, which if you look at the amounts, and I forget what they were, they are kind of low.
It's piddly.
Yeah. The establishment of a, quote, full-time emergency backup, which is notable for Leaf fans. I can't imagine why. So that amateur goalies signed out of beer league are not entering games in rare injury circumstances. I think it's a great story, but it's bush.
Oh, it's insane that teams are regularly scrambling like 3 hours before a game to be like, who's available? Like, it's crazy that NHL teams operate the same way mine does. Like, if my goalie gets hurt, we're literally going to go down the hall and be like, can you play 2 games? Like today, or like call someone up. Oh, yeah, you played with us last year, or like, do you have a cousin? Or that's so stupid. It's fun. The 2 times that it's actually been a factor, or 3 or whatever it is.
What's his name? Jet Graves?
No, he's a goalie for the Blue Jackets. This is Jet Alexander.
Jet Alexander.
Yes,
Sorry, I got the wrong Jet.
I know. It's
Jet
weird
Wu.
that there's 2 NHL goalies named Jet.
Like, Jet Alexander should never see the ice.
No,
Like,
it's a great story, unless he's the full-time guy.
Unless that's just his job.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, he's
They were
not.
just calling him and he's running with his equipment to the arena. Like, it's a bad thing to run a professional franchise that's worth billions of dollars.
The Panthers
shouldn't how you should run things.
Years ago, the Panthers had, oh my God, I don't even remember his name, but Luongo left a game early, like went to hospital. And then who had to fill in for him? I think it was Al Montoya. This was a game against the Leafs, and Montoya was very, very visibly hurt. And their like goalie coach got his equipment on. Luongo is like watching the game in street clothes because he returned from the hospital, because he's like, holy shit. And I'm pretty sure Montoya missed the rest of the season after that, because he's like, well, I gotta play. So that Rob Tallis was his name.
There you go.
Rob Tallis.
Wow, what a fool.
He was like in his 50s.
Yeah, just a guy who works there.
That's a man. That's some man.
Yeah, he shouldn't be in a game with professional athletes.
I'm sure he's better than most guys, but holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, we can't be having
crazy.
that.
There's also something I'm sure Alan will expand on the next time we do Agent Provocateur. We were supposed to do one today, but JJ Peterka was traded last
Something
night.
happened.
So, and they had extension. We never said the extension, but he is making $7.7 million.
I'm so mad.
Why, man?
His jersey number is his contract cap hit.
Oh,
What is it?
Alan, count your friggin' days.
$7.7 million
Wow.
per season.
For number 77.
Good little,
So
How do you sleep?
good little chunk of change for Allen.
So this is interesting. There are
Well, here, wait. 7.7 for 5 years, which walks him right to 28 and free agency.
Oh.
That is some tidy work there from Alan Walsh. Drinks on Alan next time we see you.
It buys 1 year free agency.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm sure Alan milked the shit out of that. No, good for all parties.
there are also benefit Frank Soroval in his article calls it landmark player benefit improvements, health insurance, and post-playing health insurance stipends. Now, we've talked about this on Agent Provocateur, but this will blow your mind. So the way it used to work is that, or the way it still works until the CBA is signed, is that, okay, Steve is a former player. Look at him. Look at that athletic build. That's crazy. He's so athletic. And he's from the States where you have to pay for health care, right? So he's an American Steve, okay? American Steve had a pretty good career, but to stay on the NHL player benefit plan, which is pretty comprehensive for you and your family, you got to spend $40,000 a year. And Steve's come across some hard times. So Steve goes, you know what? This year, I can't afford to stay on the player benefit program, and I'm going to come off it for the year. So at the end of the next year, he goes, I'm okay again. My finances have improved. I can buy back in. And they go, no, you can't. Once you've dropped off, you're out.
Why?
Because that was the way it was. So if you missed a year, you're done. I know. What the fuck, right?
Yeah.
So what's great about this, according to Frank, is that the health insurance and post-playing health insurance stipends, plus movement of player payroll taxes and workers' comp premiums will be paid out of the owner's share. Now, I don't know if that means that you can drop off and come back if you're a former NHL player, but I do know that was a big concern for the NHLPA. So I'm going to ask Alan as soon as it comes out, but I don't know that that's not been released yet, but I think that was a huge issue.
This is an important thing because not everyone makes over $100 million in their career.
Yeah.
Right? Some of these guys have 8-year careers.
That's a great career.
It's a great career, and they never make more than $900,000. And you might be like, well, I would love to make $900,000 for 8 years. Yeah. But you got to stretch that forever. Like you're coaching hockey schools and shit.
Yeah.
To try to tie some ends together and really make this money last. And if you blew a knee, you had chronic back problems, you had anything that would be a reasonable thing to assume a player who played 500 plus NHL games would have. That's going to rack up really fast for you.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not going to be a good experience.
No question. So all of that stuff is going to be in the CBA. Could be in the next few weeks. We'll see. Now, let's get back to the fun hockey stuff, which is the Panthers. And by that, I mean PTSD. But apparently... I tweeted last night. Actually, I'll save that. This is from Russo's article because he's talking about the whole thing. He said, if I were to rank the probability of the 3 major unrestricted free agents on the Panthers sticking around, it would be 1, Sam Bennett, 2, Brad Marchand, and 3, Aaron Ekblad.
Yep.
We know that Bennett's staying. They're basically there. Marchand, I think the Panthers have pivoted to him because I think there are some concerns about the length of contract Aaron Ekblad seems to want. Because he has put hard miles on his body. And also, why would you split up the best third line in the league?
Well, who on the Panthers' top 9 isn't locked up?
Brad.
Right. No. But once you sign Brad and Sam,
I think that's it.
Man, I mean,
that's rough.
It's the most insane depth in the league.
Yeah.
And yes, you don't have Aaron Ekblad anymore. You got by last season with Aaron Ekblad and Nico Mikkola as your 1 and 2 punch on the right.
Mm-hmm.
Or, no, who did Mikkola play with? No, I think he played on the right.
Was it Kulikov? I don't know. I don't remember.
I think I'm not.
That's talking pre-Seth Jones.
Pre-Seth Jones. Now you have Seth Jones as your built-in Aaron Ekblad replacement.
You might be okay.
You're going to be totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this is the right bet for them. Honestly.
So really interesting. We'll see if that Brad Marchand contract. Here's the question for Brad. Clearly, if he stays with the Panthers, guys, he's not going to make the money he would have made if he makes it to free agency. Right? He is not going to get, what was it? Some of the numbers out there, it's like it went from 7 in a 3-year deal to 8 on a 4-year deal to now 9 on a 4-year deal. If he's looking for $25 million over a 4-year contract, I don't think he's getting that with the Penguins or the Panthers. He might get it with the Penguins.
I don't think he's getting it with the Penguins either.
Probably not.
Mm-hmm. Can I give the most important Brad Marchand update?
Give it to us.
On his Instagram story right now, he is flying to the Bahamas. So he posted this picture, which I assume is a part SpawnCon sponsored content. He says, thanks Flybirds and Barrett Coke for getting us to the Bahamas.
So
there he is.
And there's Aaron Ekblad
and Sam Reinhart.
And Sam Reinhart. He's
Gus
just having
Forsling.
He has not stopped.
Who's the guy next to Reinhart? Oh, it's Kachuk.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wasn't zoomed in enough.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
good old Matty. So
Reinhardt's been wearing that shirt for 5 days. That's disgusting.
So there's all the boys, the Panthers boys, going to the Bahamas
That's cool.
on a PJ. So
Good for them.
I think Brad Marchand's staying.
I don't know how you listen. I know you want to cash in, but how the fuck do you leave that?
How do you leave this good time?
Oh man. No disrespect to the Bruins, but did he ever have that much fun with the Bruins? No way.
No.
No way.
Don
It
Sweeney
looked like
doesn't
he
let
had lots
people
of
have
fun with the Bruins.
Don Sweeney doesn't let people have fun.
Not like that.
No.
Not like that.
No.
Cup Parade, he did have a good time at the 2011 Cup Parade, but I don't know, man. I think this might be the most fun Cup team ever, or at least the team that's had the most fun.
It's up there.
It is
Because
very up there.
that party streak they had from when the cup was handed out to Sunday when they had the parade.
Yeah.
Every day, all day long on Twitter, there's just pictures of Panthers partying.
That Capitals celebration in the fountain, that they've had like 6 of them.
Yeah. And it's every day.
These guys they're all going to end up leaving the Panthers to go somewhere that can pay them more money because they're going to be like in debt.
Like from all the tabs.
From their
they brought up.
$500,000 bar tabs.
Yeah.
It's friggin' insane that I'm sure ownership picked up, which should be illegal against the CBA. I'm going to shit my pants.
I know
about
it's
it. I don't
silly, but Brad Marchand going to the Bahamas with all these Panthers, I think is it like he's having too much of a good time to just like walk away immediately. I assume there's a big pitch from the Panthers and Bill Zito's working the phones with his agent, and I think he's going to stay.
He's also significantly older than all those guys, and that kind of makes it funnier.
You got to think too with Brad, because of the national attention he's gotten, like as much as going to like I'm going to use Toronto as an example. You come to Toronto,
hell yeah!
You're going to come to Toronto, you're going to get a bunch of endorsement deals. I think he can get them anyway. Like he is at that point
especially
now,
in an Olympic year,
and he's going on. He's probably going to be on Team Canada, even though it's like iffy because he was a 4th line guy with
Matthew
4 nations.
Tkachuk is in commercials up here.
Cale
I know.
McCarr is in the what is that insurance commercial that runs all the time?
Yeah.
The one with Willie and McCarr.
Man,
That runs like constantly on Canadian television. Nothing's stopping these Canadian guys from getting deals in Canada when they play for America.
Or American
I
guys,
keep-
Tkachuk and Tkachuk.
I keep trying to say this to Americans. Sidney Crosby was in bread commercials.
Mm-hmm.
And like for some reason, the default up here, like there are literally multiple insurance companies who are like, you know who we need to sell this? A hockey player.
Yes, they love getting a hockey player.
Sonnet Insurance has Morgan Riley. They used to have William Nylander, or they might still have William Nylander. They had Freddie the Goat, Frédérick Gaudreau in those commercials. Mitch Marner was with Intact. Cale McCarr is with whatever company he is
It might
with.
be QuickBooks. I forget what commercial it is, but
That's
yeah.
even weirder. Cale McCarr. Do we think Cale McCarr uses QuickBooks?
Maybe. His agent might. I don't know.
It's possible. We use up here, like every bank has a different hockey player. Every like burger chain has a different hockey player. Every coffee place has a different hockey player. Hockey is used to sell everything in this country. Absolutely everything.
You know when you get drafted to a team and you're on the team, they don't give you an email because they know like the NHL player will never use this email or knows how to use email.
Is that right?
So like there's no Austin Matthews at mapleleafs.com. Like there are other ways to reach these players and in these chats they have on their phone and everything, but there's no email for like Austin Matthews.
Can you imagine if he spent time out of his day
Leafs.
deleting spam?
Right? So
What is this link? Should I click this link? He's never had that moment in his life.
he doesn't worry about those things.
No.
Yeah. That's why he's got an agent.
You're
with
telling
an
me he doesn't have to take company surveys about worker satisfaction?
If he
and how
does
his bosses
need
do?
to, they like it's rare. It's really 1-to-1. Like we gotta handhold this hockey player to do things like that.
But they do have group chats.
They do. They have plenty of those. Yeah, and that's how they kind of distribute the information to these guys. So it's not like a corporate environment. I assume anybody would assume that, but just to put it out.
Yeah,
there.
good.
Yeah.
Friggin' nerds. Erik Karlsson, I tweeted this. So the CJ show came out last night.
Boo.
And I quote tweeted it and I said, okay, if anybody wants to get Erik Karlsson, how much are the Pittsburgh Penguins willing to like retain for this to be worth it? And I got a tweet from Pierre LeBrun
I saw that.
linking to his article, and I was like, "Oh, hey, Pierre. I don't think we've never met. I know you've met him, but anyway, he hits it in the first part of his article, which I had not seen. So Karlsson obviously has this $5 million bonus that's payable on July 1st, which I think is paid at 11 a.m. when free agency opens.
Good for him.
So then after that, apparently Pittsburgh is willing to do like. It's if there was a trade attractive enough, because remember he makes 11.5 total, but San Jose is retaining 13%, so it's actually $10 million from the Penguins. They might be willing to go because it's only 2 years left on this deal. to $7.5 million. So the Penguins retaining $2.5 million. And if you can get a motivated Erik Karlsson, that could be very attractive.
Well, and if he doesn't work out, maybe you trade him retaining $2.5 million, and
it just
then
the
he's
number keeps
$5
going
million.
down.
And what's the record?
I still, the Dubas quote is ringing in my ear. His ambitions, his habits need to match his ambitions is a pretty heavy thing to say about a player. And that's why I say if you can get a motivated Erik Karlsson. Now, everybody's like, well, the Senators would be just a cool story. It would be a cool story. I don't think that they've got Sanderson. I don't see why they would do that. Where would you see him as a fit? And that's the one where I'm like, I don't know, man.
This has been the problem is I don't really... Who is a good team with like realistic goals of making noise in the cup picture? Who needs Erik? They're an Erik Karlsson away. Oh yeah, that's it. That's all we need. No one runs our power play. We're a really good team with no power play quarterback. We suck. And also we need a top 4 right D who's so damn expensive and busted as shit and old.
But we need him for 2 years. That's all we need him for.
I don't know. I could Utah if they really want to make some noise and they have an opening, I guess.
I don't think they do. Dursey and Sergachev? Why would you bring Karlsson?
Sergachev's on the left.
Okay, but you've got a power play quarterback.
Now you have 2.
Well, you've got 3.
This is what I'm saying, right?
He had 53 points in 82 games last year.
Which is extremely good.
Steve's point was that there's not really a fit for it, right?
Yeah. 53 points. It's
and only,
extremely good. He was probably top 20.
And only 15 of those were on the power play. So it's relevant that a lot of that happened 5-on-5.
He gets a lot of it done at 5-on-5. So
it's hard to see, especially because there's 2 years left on the deal and not 1. I can 100% see a team at the trade deadline picking up Karlsson for a playoff run.
Yeah.
You're just getting better and adding to an already good team. And there's only $5 million left if Pittsburgh retains. And everybody in this situation is only paying that out for 4 months. That makes sense. But for 2 seasons of Karlsson, finding that team is it's hard to pin down who's that team's going to be. I think a GM might do it because there's a lot of dumb GMs.
You know what's going to be so genuinely funny, Jesse Blake?
What?
Is when the Vegas announces that Alex Pietrangelo is going to miss the whole season. Mm-hmm. They get Marner and Erik Karlsson.
That might be silly.
They're going to find a way.
Hurdle gets traded to the Leafs. No, I'm kidding.
Why not?
I don't know.
Not happening.
I'd love to know what Kyle Dubas's willingness to retain on Karlsson is. If he's cool with doing the 50 or 30 or whatever his limit is on that, just to get him out the door, or if he's like, hey, we're better with Erik Karlsson.
Fellas,
we
are not getting creative enough because we have long established the Dubas specials. You're leaving out one of his favorite ones. Mm-hmm. Double retention. Where you find a third-party team and you double retain them.
You know where he kind of might make sense?
Hit me, Adam. Just hit me
Especially
over.
if you get a double retention,
slam it over my friggin' head.
It would be hilarious is Florida. But it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I'll just pull out and admit that. One team I'm looking at that doesn't have a great power play quarterback quite yet, that definitely wants to get better and might have assets. Again, I don't think you have to give. If Kyle Dubas is expecting some big haul here, I don't think
the Sharks didn't get a ton from years ago, and now it's not years ago. It is today.
Might the Philadelphia Flyers make sense? Rick Tocchet is known for dealing with guys who are hard-headed. Erik's hard-headed. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think he's a confident person.
I'm trying to picture the right side.
Because they've got, the way I look at it is they got Ristolainen, Drysdale, and all the other shooters are left.
Wait.
Sanheim, Sealer.
Let me cut you off. The Penguins are not trading a substantial player to the Flyers.
Okay.
When was the last time that happened?
I'm looking for fits. I'm just looking for fits.
No, I know. But when was the last time that happened?
Okay.
When was the last Penguins-Flyers trade?
Okay, then you got to go, who's a silly banana? Right? Who's a silly banana GM? I'm trying. If we're looking for fits, or are we looking for silly?
Bill Zito's such a silly banana.
Bill Zito's a silly banana, but he's a smart silly banana.
He's such a silly banana.
What about silly bananas we're not totally sure about? So what about What about this is so stupid, Detroit? They have a power play quarterback.
Are they just dumb bananas?
That's what I mean.
I
You're
think they
silly
might just
banana.
be dumb bananas. No.
Okay, not Minnesota, definitely not Montreal. New York Islanders, if Noah Dobson is being traded and you're still expecting to make the playoffs, because here's the thing, Noah Dobson wants over $10 million.
I think over Lou Lamoriello's dead body,
He's not there
gonna
anymore.
live forever.
There's rumors
Yeah, oh,
today. There's rumors today that Noah Dobson's being traded to the Canadians.
Okay,
What?
I don't know how true those rumors are.
for Lane
but,
Hudson, straight up.
a couple people have tweeted it out. So there's the
Who's
thing.
a couple people?
I'll pull up the tweets.
Are they people that like say things that are generally true?
Just give him a second.
Other folks.
Give him a second.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Wow.
You know who else might be a fan? You know who else might be a fan? And this is crazy talk. Eric Tulsky might be a fan at the right price.
That's not crazy talk.
Don't you think?
I think he wakes up in the morning with a Erik Karlsson poster on his bed.
I think so too. And I feel like that might work. Like, you got a lot out of Shane Gostisbehere, and that's cool. But like, could you not see that doesn't make the Carolina Hurricanes any tougher, but I don't think that's what they're aiming for.
They need help up the middle more.
Yeah, but you're not again, what are we paying?
Yo, no, Adam, now I'm buying
Okay,
it.
I'm just trying to find fits. $26 million
Is
in
there
space,
a more
right?
Kyle
Like,
Dubas ass player that's never played for Kyle Dubas
That's what I'm saying.
than Jesperi Kotkaniemi?
Oh.
That's
you might be onto something.
right? And here's another one. And I don't know if I think Karlsson's got trade protection, so I think he has a say in this, but I should have probably checked that. A couple of teams, Chicago's not anywhere close to it, but they could use him. Guy that they may have to replace in Calgary is Rasmus Andersson, and they might have faint playoff hopes in Calgary. They barely missed this year. Could that work?
As a frequent Mackenzie Weegar fantasy holder, no.
Okay, all right. I'm just throwing shit at the wall here. So
Yeah.
I
feel like that's
the
what
point
this
is.
is.
It's not a lot of places.
So there's a tweet from TVA Sports. Anthony Martineau tweeted in French. I'm not going to try and read it in French.
Selon les sources,
Oh, gosh,
Noah
I didn't
Dobson
want you
est
guys to
sur
do
la
that.
table.
Sur la table de chasse de Canadiens du Montréal.
So it's something along the lines of
We did
like Noah Dobson's on the roster for the Montreal Canadiens. So then he tweeted that out. Matt, if you want to bring that off, let me just bring up the other one. There was a follow-up from Marco D'Amico. D'Amico? Is that how you say it? Yeah, D'Amico, yes. Heard the Canadians continue to kick tires with their first rounders. Both could be traded and some prospects for a bigger trade. Some names that I'm working to double confirm, but we know they liked guys like Dobson or Kyrou in the past, so the names have come up.
Well, yeah,
And
they're
then-
good players.
And then there's a quote tweet by him that says, just an update, the Canadians have had talks on Dobson, but you can add the Columbus Blue Jackets and a third team I'm working to identify. Columbus is seemingly talking to everyone.
Well, they should.
So the Montreal Canadiens are kicking tires on Dobson, which could be interesting.
There are so many teams. This is such a good summer for players. The cap is skyrocketing, and there are so many teams with $11 billion. It's going to be so exciting for fans, but I think there are going to be some 2016 ass deals this summer.
Oh yeah.
2016, for those of you who are like, what are you talking about, is widely regarded as one of the worst free agencies ever. Nearly every contract that was signed sucked ass.
And
Was so expensive and so bad.
the Leafs were saved from that because nobody wanted to play here because they were so bad.
Thank goodness.
Now, I do want to ask about a guy who is available. Would you guys rather have Erik Karlsson at 7.5 for 2 more years, or whatever Ivan Provorov's going to pay?
Overall.
I'd rather have Karlsson. No, fuck that guy.
Okay. He's 28, left shooting defenseman who gets 30-something points a year.
No, I know. I'm being stubborn, but man, there's a big gap between 56 and 30.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Eric.
Yeah.
Screw it.
And you would say Ivan, Jesse?
Even if he's shitty, I'll be like, tell me some stories.
That's such a general question because it depends on your circumstance. Like, do you need a right-handed defenseman or a left-handed?
Yeah.
Probably right.
That could probably just answer your question. And like, do you want somebody who's going to put up more points? Then you're leaning Karlsson. But you want the younger guy on shorter money? Then you probably want Provorov if you got a hole in your left side.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
With Gavrikov basically sold to the Rangers, I wonder if Provorov's money just goes berserk. Because... I
think everyone's money's going berserk.
Yeah.
It's a great summer to be a free agent.
Yeah. Okay. All right. As we mentioned, Jamie Benn deal, $4 million, most of it bonuses. And CJ had the breakdown, so I'm going to throw it out here.
Dallas still needs work.
$500,000 for each of 20, 30, 50, and 60 games played. $500,000 for a round 3 win. $500,000 for a Stanley Cup win. Base salary of $3 million in bonuses.
They still need to shave.
The Stars are finalizing their coaching. It comes down to the guy internally, Neil Graham and Glenn Gulutzin. Glenn Gulutzin is obviously, has been with the Oilers the last 2 runs. Mm-hmm. The Claude Giroux deal is interesting because Jamie Benn and Claude Giroux have the same agent. Apparently, they're haggling in Ottawa over bonus structure with Giroux.
Oh, okay.
So Benn signing probably might be a blueprint for that.
Yes.
And interesting otherwise, and I'm just going to throw this at you because we do have to wrap up here. Are the Oilers moving up? Because Radim Mrtka, who is supposedly maybe go top 10, top 15, was talking to them and the Mammoth and said that they had interviewed him, and the Oilers don't have a pick till where the Leafs have a pick.
I think you just doing your due diligence.
You just talk to
organization. You should talk to prospects.
You get Arvidsson for a first.
Can I wrap here on something I asked earlier?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to do that regardless. I asked about, hey, what's the dress code in the NHL? I was like, I can just look in the CBA because the CBA is just a PDF you can download on the internet.
Yeah,
so
it's cool, isn't it?
I went to the CBA, and Exhibit 14, Rule number 5 is the dress code. I'll read it to you guys. Players are required to wear jackets, ties, and dress pants to all club games and while traveling to and from such games, unless otherwise specified by the head coach or general manager. So there is a requirement, but the head coach or general manager can change the rule, which I thought was interesting. So there is a dress code requirement, but if the GM's like, hey, no, you don't got to wear that, then it's cool.
This is the real nitty gritty that you pulled up. We're reading shit. Personal charges incurred by players in hotels.
I'm getting to that.
Okay. So, my bad.
I wanted to specify on the dress code stuff. I think it's interesting that they want to change the dress code rule, even though there isn't really a rule if the team wanted to just be like, you can wear jeans. The GM has
Yeah, but none of the teams have. So the players are like,
They want to specify that we don't have that in there at all.
Sure.
But Exhibit 14 is a fun exhibit if you ever wanted to read the CBA, because in there you get the minutia of what it's like to be an NHL player. They have like the form of standard of club rules of just the day-to-day of being an NHL player and the rules you can't break. So I'll start with that one. The personal charges incurred by players in hotels while the club is on the road must be paid by the player before checking out. Any personal charges not paid will be paid by the club and then deducted from the player's paycheck. And then there's a fine of $50.
$50. First offense.
And then an additional fine of $75. So if I'm an NHL player, I might just not pay that and just be like, fuck the $75.
Didn't Pat Galante buy a t-shirt? Didn't he buy a TV in every city and then leave it?
He used to buy like an Xbox and a TV so he could play video games in every city. I might be like, yeah, I'll pay the $75 so that somebody can handle this for me.
Wow.
Like that's a good trade-off. So that fine is so little. I thought that was a really interesting provision.
75 times 41 is hair under 3,100. Like
$3,000 so somebody can handle my hotel business. I'll take that.
And by the way, the reason that's in there is, remember the Coyotes weren't paying their hotel?
Something like that.
Yeah. There was a
and their airline is just brutal, dude.
There's the rule in here on alcohol consumption. You're not allowed to consume alcohol on flights or in airports or in any hotel in which the club is staying. Unless
sure, okay,
Shut up. Unless authorized by the head coach or GM.
Okay.
I think it's authorized.
Alcohol consumption in all other cases must be sensible.
Okay.
Florida Panthers, you're breaking the CBA.
Fuck McDavid.
If a player has been drinking and has a vehicle with him, the club shall reimburse him for his cab fare home without questions or retribution.
Oh, and that's the right thing.
right,
So you avoid drinking and driving. Yep.
Yes.
Damn, NHL, I didn't know you were chilling.
I sort of like your parents, like, call me no matter what.
I think it's interesting that they had to put that in there. And then there was, this one I thought was really funny for the guys who like dip. The use of tobacco products while in the presence of fans in any arena or while attending any team function is prohibited. You're telling me there's been no guy with some dip in his lip at a team function?
It should literally say the use of tobacco products while in the presence of fans in any arena or while attending any team function is prohibited. Erik, because that's just for Erik Karlsson, who plays with it in, which is the craziest, nastiest shit. What is this brown patch on the? Oh, Eric's playing tonight.
I thought that one's like a lie. It's in the CBA and it's just a lie.
Man, there's rules, but who's going to enforce that?
Right? All players shall adhere to a club's curfew policy.
No. So and then I'll end on this one. This one's for the fans out there.
That's for the Radulovs, by the way.
Oh yeah.
This one is for the fans. This is in the CBA. Fans are to be treated with respect and courtesy. Autograph requests in the vicinity of club facilities should not be unreasonably denied. In the CBA, players should not reasonably deny autographs when it is in and around club facilities.
Oh, okay.
You are owed an autograph according to the CBA.
Then you stay out there for 2 hours, guys, and sign autographs every damn time, especially for the old guys who are definitely not selling it on eBay.
Out of you pessimists.
Yeah, no, they got mustard stained. I'm sure they're there because they really want to hang it on their wall.
Or the old guys who give stuff to young guys to get signed.
Yeah,
which also happens.
Those people are evil.
Really?
And it's creepy and predatory, and I hate it. My God.
Some of those autograph rings, they have it like down to a T. They send the little kids to go to these players, and the players always sign
That's
for the
so
kid,
fucking lame.
and then the kids go back and give it to the guys who then sell it on.
Yuck.
It's evil stuff. But
that is 90s like silly Home Alone tactics. Absolutely. Anyway,
that's crazy. Okay, well, listen, we're going to be back tomorrow. Draft show starting at 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be here until the first round is over, even if it kills us, even if we die.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.